It's the Center Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Yes! Yes! Yes, this is my favorite part of the game.
Analyzing all of the league matchups week to week.
You can't win!
Get him a body bag! Finish him!
It is a bit above average.
I said this sucks, and basically so do you.
And discussing the boom, bust, and hidden gem players throughout the league.
We ain't found shit!
What the hell is Brett Favre doing here?
I'm in town to play the Dolphins, you dumbass.
Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea and rot in hell. Laces out.
Touchdown!
And here's your host,
Allow myself to introduce myself.
David Harbatkin. Hello and welcome to the Center Fantasy Football Podcast for Week 5 of Season 7. We're already past a quarter way through. I'm your host, David Harbatkin, joined by the two Hackettstown coaches and the commissioner of the league. First, Mr. Gazeletsky.
What's going on, people?
And, of course, the coach of Hackettstown's finest, Mr. Manny Friedman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So this was we've kind of rotated back and forth between really high scoring weeks and really kind of lower scoring weeks. This seemed to be one of the more lower scoring weeks again, especially for some of the teams over there in Zamunda, and our vaunted first place team that we can't catch. Doesn't need many. He's playing defensive fantasy football. So there's a lot of close games again, but none closer this week than the game with our guest later on in the show and our current co-host here, Mr. Gazeletsky. The Lightning Rods and the Hackettstown Hagglers really got into a close game this week.
Yes, it was quite the interesting game. It was exciting as well as frustrating. Say a little more exciting than frustrating, but lost by 1 point in the fourth quarter at the end of the very, very, very end. I mean, it went down to the wire. This was down to the wire last play.
Yeah. And once again, the Lightning Rod sitting there. I mean, he has been your nemesis all these years. He doesn't know it, but he's just been sitting there, always keeping the Hagglers down. So, all right. So, as you mentioned, a 131.80 to 130.80 victory for the Lightning Rods. I don't know. This is your game. There's so much to go over. Why don't you break this game down for us, Geese? Because I know nobody was paying more attention to it than you.
Well,
although a lot of us were.
Yeah, well, there was some primetime games going on here. So the wheels came off early. After last week's Chernobyl, I don't even know what to call this. Maybe the day after tomorrow. I don't know. This was a ginormous shakeup by the Hagglers in an attempt to generate points, which we did actually, and left him on the bench. So Jordan Howard was specifically targeted in the auction. Nobody else was looking at him. And then for some unforsaken reason, we just benched him overnight. And he blows up for 32. Now, we don't want to beat a dead horse, all right? You got 32 on the bench. Everybody can see it. It's a bench blunder. Tried to move on, Nelson Aguilar was a big hero last week. Invited the guy to the game. Most of you know the story. The guy was throwing babies out the window. He didn't drop the babies like Nelson Aguilar. That was a famous comment. Aguilar was going to have a big game. Unfortunately, Alshon Jeffrey also was in the game. And they didn't really throw him. They threw him, I think, once. Literally one target. And he was wide open sometimes, and Carson Wentz just went, you're not going to do it. Now, you hate to have that be your guy, mind you. Where the quarterback looks at a wide open guy and goes, you're not getting this. So, fortunately, that was the case, and he put up a big, fatty goose egg biggest goose egg I've ever seen. Needless to say, at the time of this podcast, he's already been thrown off the team and will never return. Puts up 65 points a game for the rest of the year. He's no longer welcome on the Hagler's team. All right, and then we get to the other action. Rivers was all right versus Miami. There was one late touchdown that he handed it off to Eckler, of course. Just can't help himself. Gonna hand it off to the Eckler guy every time. All right. Wilson was average against Arizona, so at that point, whatever, you're feeling okay. And then Robert Woods, of course, was so annoying in the Tampa Bay game. Little dink and dunk, 13 catches for $1. I mean, I saw every single one of those 13 catches was followed by a bleep, a profanity, or an obscenity. I mean, that was absurd. You can't cover one freaking man. Anyway, let's move on. Richardson was the victim, and I say victim, of a horrid quarterback change midway through the game. That guy Haskins had no idea what he was doing. He wasn't ready to go. I mean, that's what happens when you're going to go with Case Keenum. I mean, there should be a warning. This is Case Keenum. This is what you're going to get. Stephon Diggs in the Bears game, again, was, it's the Bears. He got more than I thought he would. But, yeah, we predicted that the wide receivers would get something there. Ezekiel Elliott, we'll get on that in a minute. Nicky Chubb, I mean, can I ask for anything more from the Chubbmeister? Thank you, Nick Zaveri, our own Nicky, for trading him to me. That 88-yard touchdown run had me out of my seat. I was screaming and hooting and hollering. At that point, things look good. We're going to turn it around. And then the Drake's Cakes, he had a touchdown where he was out of bounds. Lindsey was pretty much shut down by Jacksonville. And then we get to some problem areas. Ingram was all right. Chris Thompson was all right. Edelman wasn't supposed to play with the chest injury, but I guess he has to be a big man has to play with injuries, and ends up getting 7 points. And here's some major problems. Eric Ebron, I don't know if anybody was paying attention, had 0 points throughout the entire game until the very last Hail Mary in the end zone, where I still haven't seen the play. One catch, 48 yards, and a touchdown with no time left. What the F happened there? I mean, that's, if you want to point to other, unfortunate occurrences, we can go there. The kicker, Butker, and then the Chicago defense. I mean, they're the Bears. I mean, come on. It's Bears. Like, the Bears are good enough to trade for an RB2, I think, in this league. They're really good. And then you got to get to Ezekiel Elliott. Now, my kicker, Lutz, actually was outscoring Elliott 14-5. It was embarrassing until the referees got in the way. And the Zebras, with some extra lettuce on their salad, let's just say, some bribe money from the Cowboys, every third down there was a flag, all right? Including some critical ones late in the game that would have just stopped drives, but no, they just keep on going. You never give up, do you, Richard? So they get all the way down to the 1 yard line, and guess who punches it in? Bitch ass Ezekiel Elliott, of course. And even then, you think the game's over. No, we're like Rasputin. We refuse to die. It's not over yet because the Pittsburgh Steelers are going up against the Bungles on Monday night. Now, granted, I need 21 points. Again, I'd like to thank Nicky Baby for an unexplainable drop-off. He just dropped the Steelers' defense off, so I said, yes, please, thank you. And sack after sack, after strip fumble, after interception later, it's a 1-point game. Can you believe this, ladies and gentlemen? We were down by 20 points, okay, in the Monday night game, and all we had was the defense, and we brought it to within a point. And I the Steelers were just like, how many sacks do you want us to get, boss? So they did their best. I got to thank them. But, yeah, definitely exciting and frustrating. Lightning rods, I think we let them off the hook. I could do a Dennis Green here. I think we all know that speech. We gave them we left 32 on the bench. We gave them 0 point start. We let them off the hook. They are who we thought they were. So,
well, and then on top of that, the Pittsburgh only gave up 3 points in this game. Had they held them to the shutout, you would have gotten it, and that happened.
What more do you want from a defense? No points, 8 sacks, and an interception. I mean, how much can you ask for? I mean, I have to applaud the Steelers. You did it as good as can be.
and at the end, there was that strip fumble that went out of bounds. So,
yep. I mean, this game could have ended in a tie.
Yeah, it was as close as, I mean, one more sack. I mean, it was as close as can be. Yeah. I mean, and I mean, one reception for 1 yard would have won you the game if Aguilar would have gotten that.
Mm-hmm. I was telling Geza how on the last sack, he would have beaten me.
Yeah,
on that
that's
4th and 10 last sack.
Yep.
If he was playing me, he would have won.
So if I was playing Hackettstown Finest, Manny had 130.08. That last sack put me at 130.8. I mean, of all the effed up things in this universe, this week was certainly outrageous.
So
I honestly was more entertained by this game than my game. I was paying more attention to this game than my game for sure. It was so entertaining.
Yeah, as was I. No, and then like, and just so after the Thursday night, what goes through your mind? So you ended up sitting, Jordan Howard, and now and Aguilar gets 0. So you have a total of 0 points from that game. What goes through? I mean, and then you had, and the reason why you did it is because you wanted to play Justin Jackson at that, because he was playing Miami. It was his last game there. Made sense. And you don't know that Jordan Howard's gonna blow it up like he did. And then Jackson goes down. So what goes through your mind over that period of time?
Well, it couldn't be any worse. Okay, you sat someone who got 32. You played someone who got 0. Okay, it can't get any worse. That's what you call in the business a coaching blunder. I mean, that's a low end coach 4 blunder. You can't get any lower than that. So I figure, you know what, we're going to give Lightning Rods a run for their money. And all week long, I was telling people, this game's going to be a lot closer than you think. Okay, and it looks like we're going to get blown out. It's going to be a lot closer than you think. And I just attacked it. I threw into people. We researched the stuffing out of who to play, and Whalers actually dropped Kenyon Drake right before the game started, and I went with a last-minute substitution. He was all right. So a lot of things happened, but that Hail Mary to Ebron. I mean, what kind of things can go on in a week? I mean, out of all of this, the Hail Mary to Ebron, a guy who makes a statement, he invites somebody who made fun of him while he's catching babies out the window, invites him to the game. You think that he's going to shine, not get a goose egg. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, a bunch of people didn't perform, to say the least, but at the end of the day, you put it on the coach. I mean, we got to get better, as they say in the cliche NFL, and it starts with the coach.
But
I felt bad for Geza when he came into work on Friday. I felt the need to buy him some lunch after I saw Howard score and Aguilar score. Oh my goodness!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
devastating.
But I mean, you have to. You have to feel at least good about the way that you came back and knowing, that this team can put up the points. I mean, like honestly, you play Howard there, and you have the highest score in the league this week.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to feel at least good about. I mean, your record maybe keeps you down, but as far as the quality of the team and your ability to pull stuff out of your ass, you got to feel good about it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's some potential here. Anybody who thinks that the Hagglers, are not going to put up a fight this season, I mean, once the pieces are put in place, I mean, we got Le'Veon Bell in a trade. He'll be coming back. So, yeah, we're going to give him – unfortunately, we'll play with Wakanda. I mean, he's just on fire. So, we could be looking at 1-4, but we won't go there just yet.
Yeah, so, and for the Lightning Rods, I mean, he fell into, I believe, an 0-2 hole, isn't that? And then he came all the way back and has gotten himself to 500 and finds himself in 6th place. So, I mean, great recovery from him as well.
Yeah.
And he's got himself he's got himself a good team there. I mean, Elliott is solid. We'll see what happens with Diggs. I mean, Robert Woods is amazing. I don't know. I mean, Russell Wilson goes for like 38, I think, the week before that. So to get this is uncharacteristic, at least. And then he's got Butker and the Chicago defense, which is going to keep any team in the game having those two. So I mean, good things are in store for the Lightning Rods as well. And and it's a great recovery to recover from 0-2 to find himself at 500. And honestly, 500 at this point in this league, I mean, you're literally better than half the teams. because nobody has a good record.
Yep.
And the teams that have good records, I don't think are that great. But we can get into that in a second. Anything else in this game?
No. So Geza, your team has changed greatly since the draft. I was just curious, have you done the calculation? If you had the team that you started with, is this team better?
You know what? I've got so many people shipped off to so many places. I can't even begin to crunch numbers at this point. It would take a while to research that. I don't have any numbers.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, you would just. I mean, like it seems like every week you're facing your old players. I mean, Edelman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. But really exciting game. I mean, this was one. I mean, it's not the closest game. Obviously, we had the closest game in league history last week with Hackettstown's other team, but you know, the Hagglers are right there to be some cardiac kids this week. So, really interesting. Now let's get to the other end of the spectrum. Let's get to the 4-0, or well, going into the game 3-0 St. Louis Blues playing the Zamunda Lions. Now, I have been saying for a while that these 4-0 teams, it's almost as if they're playing in the AFC East. And, yeah, so this game, the Blues walk out of here with an 84.70 to 69.68 victory. That's not a 69. That's it. He didn't even reach 70 in this game. I don't know what to say here. Nick has been making... so he's been making all of these great draft moves and like thinking like, you know, 7-dimensional chess to pick up players that are in the cryo freeze, then benches them and then gets rid of them. Like he had the Pittsburgh Steelers, as you said, he bid $5 on them last week in the free agent auction, and then out of nowhere drops them. He wins this game if he plays the Pittsburgh defense.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
All he had to do was just do nothing. You actually did the reason. Like, just stick with it. But okay, let's go into the numbers. So Kyle Allen, oof, he was terrible. 3.28 points for him, 12.6 for Williams. That's okay. Hardman got 0.9. 15.7 for Kerryon Johnson. 11.9 for Kamara, so in a pedestrian whatever. He had Hawkinson. I mean, he picked up Hawkinson, finally played a little bit. 11.7, 7.6 for Gordon, for Elliott, and 2 for the Indianapolis defense as opposed to the 19 that would have made the difference in this game. For the Blues, a whooping 18 from Mahomes. Odell, the $60 man who put him into a meltdown. He probably was, because he had 0 forever, didn't he? You were watching this game, Geese, right?
Yeah, for most of that game, he was held to 0 points, actually. It was quite amusing.
Yeah, he was probably going to have a complete meltdown over that. 9.8 from Keenan Allen, right? Carlos Hyde gets 10.4, 17.8 from Aaron Jones, who benefited from Williams going down with the concussion at the beginning of the game. Andrews, 13.10 points. John Ross, only 6.6. And he's doubtful now? What, is everybody injured over there? My God. Bryant with 5 and 0 from the Baltimore defense. I mean, somebody has to win this game. I mean, was there any goal? There's not even really. I mean, I guess Emmanuel Sanders with 15.40 points is kind of a bench blunder. Certainly would have been better than Hardman. I mean, would that 15 points made the difference? What did he lose by? That would have made it a really close game. I can't even do the math on that. 15.
Wow.
If you would have played him, Emmanuel Sanders. Let's do some quick math here.
He lost by 15.02 points.
And Sanders got 15.40, but Hardman got 0.90 points. He still would have lost, but by like a fraction.
I think you need look no further than the Pittsburgh defense. I mean, had he kept, they got 19.
Yeah, no, he absolutely wins if he just keeps, if he goes with his instinct. I don't even, for Indianapolis playing Oakland, and he's a Raiders fan. no faith in your team. In fact, he has so little faith in his team that he relies on them to win. And oh my, just brutal. For the Blues, I mean, he had nothing on the bench. Well, Roe Jones, 15.20 points. I mean, that still would have just barely gotten him under 100. He didn't even have the potential for 100, by the way, in this game. That's how it's not even. This is your first place team, by the way. It's not even that he didn't get 100. He didn't have the potential for 100. That's how bad it is over there in St. Louis. Yet he's 4-0. I mean, what do you say?
I mean, what can you say to that? It's the schedule, right? That's what we can say for now. Anyway, it's the easy schedule. So, I mean, put up those 84 against how many other teams would you have beaten this week?
None.
Nobody.
Yeah. Offensively challenged, to say the least. Offensively inept.
Yeah, but I mean, he's getting wins, so
he is.
That's what's important. That's what counts in this league. Anything else on the on the Zamunda side? I mean, what do you even say there? I don't even know. Send reinforcements as they are in dire straits. Please send. I mean, he's gone through the quarterback carousel. I think that's hurt him. I mean, he had Derek Carr. I don't think he does anymore. I mean, Garoppolo has been terrible. I mean, he has Gronkowski still holding out hope for that. I don't know. I mean, he made some moves after this. Traded with me. I finally pulled the trigger on a trade. So maybe that'll help him. I don't know.
Yeah, you got his best player.
Who? Kamara?
Yeah. No, I think Kerryon Johnson has been just as good as Kamara.
Well,
I mean, Kamara has more potential going forward, and he had 2 really good weeks. But Kerryon Johnson has been good, and that offense has been pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Detroit. So his second best player. Okay, we'll give him that.
I mean, call me Robin Hood. I'm helping him out. Huh, Eugene? Right? I gave him a quarterback. I gave him 2 running backs. I'm a little bit of a Robin Hood there too, right?
Okay. A little bit.
Okay. I mean, I have nothing else to say about this game other than wow.
Yeah, a waste of time to talk about. Let's move on to another game.
Do we want to move on to the second place team that's also feasting on some garbage and a garbage schedule? So the Whalers, second place Whalers, defeats Nick and Jamie's Garbage Barge 106 to 93.50. All right, let's go on. I mean, he has largely double digits, low double digits, but double digits up until he gets down to his flex. So Deshaun Watson, 11 points. Michael Thomas, 18.5. 13 from Cooks, 10.3 from Mixon. LaShawn McCoy, another former Hagler, is doing well once he leaves the team. Something about your coach in there, Geese. Can't stand.
Yeah.
A lot of these. Zach Ertz with 13.5, 9.1 from Lockett, coming back down to earth. 6 points from Tucker and 7 from the Los Angeles Rams defense. For the Garbage Barge, Wentz goes for 25.70 points, and Galladay with 23.7, and then goes a little bit further down. Calvin Ridley with only 6.2, 3.9 from Mac. Oof. Derrick Henry with 11.8, so he at least got double digits there. Derrick Henry has been consistent throughout the year. Delaney Walker with only 1.5. Alshon Jeffrey, who all of Aguilar's points went to, got 12 points. 12.8. Gostkowski with 4, and Denver with 4. So, yeah, I mean, Devonta Freeman actually showed up on his bench. 18 points there. That would have... I don't know if that would have won the game. That would have been close, because Marlon Mack, you subtract the 3 or whatever. There's a lot of games here that could have been close.
Yes.
This is a full-fledged bench blunder weekend for the Whalers. I mean, he didn't really make that many mistakes. He didn't. He played it well. I mean, you can't, but it was a low-scoring week. But yeah, I mean, and yet he still has less points than the Blues, same record. So he falls. With it. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say about the garbage barge. I mean, we made fun of them to begin with. They went out. They set sail for a cruise, and yeah, the trash has just been piling up since. I don't know.
He's probably scored more than half his points on that first week.
Well, let's see. Because what did he have, like 160 something? Their total points are 469, so it's not that far off.
Yeah.
I mean, for the Whalers, I mean, he has 485 points. So, I mean, there were teams that are well into the 500s, but I don't know what to say here. Once again, schedule. I don't know who else would he have beaten this week. 106. What does that get you? That gets you a win against Nick and Jamie, the Blues, or Zamunda, or Tillett. Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Anything else to say about this offensively challenged game here?
It is truly the garbage barge. I guess the first week they just picked up some gold.
Yeah. Well, it was their maiden voyage. The ship looks clean and everything until it starts to...
It starts rusting up.
The passengers start making a mess,
Yeah, any hope of recovering for that? I mean, I don't even know necessarily where they go. Yeah, I don't know.
In this, I don't know. Well, I've got the same record as them, so maybe I could take a cruise around the bay.
Yeah, but at least you're playing close football games. I don't know. I mean, I guess this is close. They're playing down to their competition. Whereas the Whalers is not expending any energy that he doesn't have to. So, good for him. 106. 106 even. To move to a 4-0 record. All right. So those are two terrible games with our league leaders. Who else do we have? Where should we go next?
Let's see. We'll let the head coach of the Hackettstown's Finest decide our next stop.
Okay, let's go to your game, Dave.
Sure. Well, the 1603ers bounced back from their boneheaded decision last week, but continued to make terrible decisions at quarterback. As they defeat the Memphis Monkeys 132.32 to 101.58. Well, let's go over what happened with the Monkeys here, because I'm going to go publicly flog my team in this game. So Matt Ryan with only 15.68 points, Juju Smith-Schuster on an offense that doesn't even look like they want to pass anymore, gets 4.50 points. So that's pretty impressive, given that I don't even know what are they running out of the Wildcat now? They look terrible. They look terrible. I mean, you don't go based on the points in that game. They were playing the Bungles. They are terrible. Like, they should just take the hot dog vendor out there, and I'm sure he could throw it farther than this guy. So 4.5 for Juju Smith-Schuster. Cooper Kupp with 26.90 points, continuing to get a ton of points. Dalvin Cook with 19, still does really well on a team that just doesn't want to pass. Sony Michel with 6.3, 1.9 from Vernon Davis. The law offices of Valdez Scandling get 7.7, 9 for Crosby, and 11 for the defense. So, I mean, had he played Jameis Winston, who, really, or Landry, or even Marvin Jones, this could have been a very different result this week for the Monkeys. So they actually have a look, they have a good team. And last week I feel like they played, to their full potential. I mean, what did they get last week? I mean, it was a huge point scoring. I mean, Geez, you would know.
Oh, yeah. Last week there was like 150.
Yeah. And they had the potential to do it again. They just played the wrong players this week, uncannily. But, I mean, I don't think... I mean, first of all, since new ownership has taken over, they're 1-1 now. But honestly, this still remains a very good team. They just kind of outcoached themselves this week, which is endemic amongst the league, and I am not excused from it. So 2 weeks in a row, I absolutely make the wrong quarterback call. Now, had I played Prescott last week, I would have won the game, and I would have been 3-0 or 3-1. This and we went over this a bunch. Had I just overslept, not set my alarm, and not touched it 10 minutes before the game, I would have won that game by playing Dak Prescott. This week, I wanted to make it up to him. I was like, Dak, booby, I feel bad about what I did to you. I'm going to put you in there. I'm going to make it up to you. You're playing on Sunday night. You're playing in New Orleans. There's, those are usually high-scoring games. I'm going to give you a shot. Well, I gave him that shot, and now he's no longer on the team. 8.62 points for Dak Prescott. But that's not where the problems stop. Now, the entire season, I've been talking about how I built this team around running backs and to some degree a quarterback, even though it's not how it was built, but it ended up becoming that. And then a tight end. This week, that actually came to fruition. But the previous weeks, I had been relying on the wide receivers and the quarterbacks and everything else. But not anymore. I was starting to get a little overconfident. DJ Moore, 7.40 points. They've been atrocious since that Allen guy got in there. Christian Kirk only threw 8.3 points. Tyler Boyd, 6.3 points. I mean, my combined receivers, you can combine their score. They got less than McCaffrey. And certainly less than Lamar Jackson. So, yeah, this entire game was on the back of Christian McCaffrey, who got 33.9, 26.5 from Connor, and 12.3 from Waller, then 13 from the kicker on the sly, and Seattle gets 16 points. Yeah, and then, of course, the obvious bench blunder here, Lamar Jackson, 32.48 points. I would have had the highest score of the week and would have extended my points lead over the... instead, I find myself in a dogfight with Wakanda over that. But, yeah. Just bench blunders. And I there are problems on the horizon for the 1603ers. I mean, we're doing okay. We're at 500 where we needed to be, but... how long? I mean, first of all, what are you going to do when your entire offense is Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey, and they have a bye week or something like that? I don't. I mean, it seems to be a different team that shows up every week. I don't even know how to coach this team, but yeah, I don't know. That's my thoughts on this game and my team that is pissing me off, even in wins. But we could have lost this. I look. I went into that game and I to that Monday night game and I had two players go. First of all, I had three players going. His entire team had gone. It was like 90. It was like 97 to 92. All right, you get into the Sunday night game. I have Dak Prescott going. Great. This is where I just put it to bed. I don't even have to watch the Monday night game. No, he could barely get the lead back from him in that game. It was the most like you two were watching, you're rooting for lunch, you're rooting for exciting things, and I'm rooting against you guys because I'm like, just throw a touchdown, Dak. just anything. Can you just like screen pass it to Elliott no, he couldn't do anything. It was atrocious to watch. And he's no longer on the team. You can't play like that and be on the team. He got Aguilar'd.
Yeah.
You got Aguilar.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, by all means, bring in a third-party perspective on this game and this team, or both of them.
I'll let Manny go first.
Connor finally had a good game.
Yeah, that's why we dealt him away. Because he's not going to anymore.
Yeah, that team. I feel like Connor and Le'Veon Bell are like in the same boat. They both are like the only options on their teams. So I'm hoping it fares okay for you, Geza, except on week 11.
Right, exactly, yeah.
But what I see from your team is just McCaffrey is just by far and away the best player. I mean, I feel like he's going to give you the majority of the points every week.
Yeah,
is what I feel.
Yep.
I mean, I got criticized for picking up the white guy in the draft, but or in the auction, but
yeah, look who's laughing now with McCaffrey.
I'm not laughing. I'm crying at the rest of my team, but yeah.
I'm to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of the rest of your team.
Yeah, neither am I. Please humiliate them so that they do something well next week because they're embarrassing.
I like that your defense played Arizona.
I did too. They're no longer my defense. That's why I like them.
Yeah. And I mean the Monkeys. I mean Schuster. I wouldn't even bother starting him with that crap quarterback they have.
No.
Now.
Well, I mean, I don't even know what he does. Like he can't even move him. Who would take him? I mean, I wouldn't take Smith-Schuster for anyone. Like I don't even want him on the team.
I would take him for Michael Gallup, and he's hurt right now. That's it. On my team. Dalvin Cook has been really, really good. Cooper Kupp has been very solid. That Rams team, I mean, Goff is not a great quarterback, but he has three weapons, Kupp, Woods, and Cooks. So, but starting a Rams receiver, if I had one of them, would be kind of risky because you don't know who's going to go off. In this game, everyone went off, but it's not like that in most games. Valdez-Scantling was surprising, but this week it was Devontae Adams who had a good game. So,
yeah, but now apparently Devontae Adams is injured, I guess. So maybe Valdez-Scantling will come back, and the Monkeys will bench him and play one of the other players that won't do anything.
I don't know. It must be a crapshoot whether or not he plays James White or Sony Michel because, either one of them can go off. I would not do that if I was a coach. But keep doing that when you play me, John.
Is that it? Do you play him next week?
I do not.
Yeah, well, we'll see what he does. I mean, I don't know, like, because he's got a good team. It's just it's that Patriot syndrome of where you never know which the players are going to get. His whole team is like suffering from Patriot syndrome, even both with Patriots and without them. I don't know.
Seems like it's a good group of players, but it seems like a hard group to coach.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
I agree with that. Geese, any other comments on this game?
No, then it's pretty much your frustration speaks volumes.
Yeah. And by the way, these are frustrations after a win. I mean, I'm going to be irate. Look, I'll take the L for the week before. That was a bad coaching decision, even though I don't think it's necessarily that bad. Although clearly, playing Dak on, against Miami seemed like the right thing up until 10 minutes before the game. Yeah, it's a very frustrating group of guys to coach when they don't do anything. But some weeks they love to do stuff. I don't know. I'm done talking about them. I will berate them behind closed doors, for the next couple days. All right. So what else do we have? We have 2 more games left. Do you want to go next, Manny, or would you like to be reserved for last?
Sure, I'll go next.
All right, well, go over your game.
All right, so this game was it was an important game for me due to the trading back and forth we had. Nothing happened. We did not complete any trades. So I just wanted to prove to him that my team was still better. So it was a very important game for me. I did offer get a trade from Geza, which actually played out well for me. One half of it did, because I got Gurley and Hopkins in exchange for Le'Veon Bell. Gurley held up his end of the bargain. Hopkins, not so much. Hopkins actually threw for an interception, which makes me actually want to trade him back, but I'll keep him for the time being.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, it was not very fun to see having him on my team. Eckler has been amazing for me, but now that Melvin Gordon comes back next week, that's my one kind of concern with this team. But he's been so good, so I don't even know how they can bench him, considering he's helped them a lot.
That might actually help St. Louis now that he's coming back.
I know he has
Cyberdyne. I know.
I just can't bench Eckler because he's been so good for me. So I would feel wrong doing that right now. But I mean, we'll go over the games tomorrow or in the second half of the podcast. Kelsey has been. I mean, he's good. He's part of such a great offense. By the way, did he lose points, or did his points get subtracted because of that lateral?
I'm not sure. I actually didn't watch that game. So he had 8 targets, 7 receptions, 85 receiving yards.
But like one of the plays, he caught the ball and then he lateraled it to some other to, I think, what was it, Sammy Watkins or one of the other receivers. Like on a play. So does that play do those points get void, or he gets credit for the catch?
He gets credit. I don't know, to be honest with you. He should. Okay. Wait, so he lateraled it to somebody else? Yeah, he should get points. Yeah. He should get points for the catch.
Okay.
I would think. But he could also get he could also get an incompletion or an interception or stuff, just like your other. Ask DeAndre Hopkins. He clearly knows what happens when wide receivers pass. I don't know.
Yeah. So one move I did make before this game was I picked up Dontrell Inman right before the game because Mike Williams and Travis Benjamin were out, and initially I had Austin Hooper in there, which I guess it didn't help me, but I was like, let's play whoever I can play against the Miami defense. They're so freaking hideous that, anyone will put up at least 10 points. So I did get 12.6 points out of him. He's not on my team anymore. But, I think it's worth taking some risk once in a while. The Green Bay defense, who was really good the first 3 weeks, was terrible. I think they're the only defense to get negative points this week, and thank God I won, because I would have been furious otherwise. But overall, I'm very happy with where my team's at. I think I have a lot of firepower, to be honest with you. I have a lot of big play potential. I'm pretty satisfied, especially with Tyreek Hill and Gallup coming back. So I think at receiver that will make me stronger. A little worried about Eckler, but Gurley is solid. Have 2 decent tight ends. So I mean, I'm in a good spot at 3-1, but anything can happen, as we know.
I'm so disappointed that you didn't play the Hagglers, by the way, because so had you played the Hagglers, what did you say the
last sack that Pittsburgh had would have won the game for him.
And yet you got -2 from the Green Bay defense. It would have been nice to see two Hackettstown people just melt down.
I'm sure Geza wanted that to happen too, because he would have been the one victorious. And then as far as Eugene goes, I mean, can you pick the right Tampa Bay receiver to play? I'm glad you didn't, but I'm also a little bit upset that I didn't take him in a trade because you've been offering Godwin for a lot of my players. So that was my blunder.
Yeah, I mean, what do you call it? Godwin got 41.20 points on the bench. He could have had a second week in a row where he would have taken down a team on the back of just one Tampa Bay receiver. I mean,
crazy.
Eugene, I hate to say that it might be bad coaching or something like that, but I don't know. I wouldn't say something like that to somebody as esteemed as you, or a defending champion. I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to market it that way. That you are, a low end coach one. But others, people are talking. I hear people talking. What did you say? I am. I'm Trump. Isn't that what he says? People are talking.
Yeah, I mean, Eugene last week was very adamant about not trading two of his three receivers that he started in this game, Thielen, Cooper, or Evans. But if he traded away Thielen and Cooper for, I think, one of my tight ends, he would have won this game.
Yeah.
So, if that isn't bad coaching, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I don't know if that. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's low end coaching. One, I'm not gonna say that. I wouldn't.
Right.
I wouldn't. No, never.
But it might be bad coaching on my part for even offering that.
Yeah, who knows?
But
I mean, honestly, look. All right, Thielen has had a pretty good season so far. I mean, this was just a crappy game for him against a tough Chicago defense. Although, didn't he say after the game something to the effect of, "I don't know how we're gonna be able to do anything if we can't pass at all," or something? It was. I mean, the passing numbers were insanely low.
Yeah, he said to win in this league, you have to know how to pass the ball, and that was pretty much a direct shot at Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, that's gonna go well when your quarterback hates you. Plan on Stephon Diggs getting a lot more targets next week. Thank you. as I face the lightning rods with a fire-powered Stephon Diggs and a Chicago team that's playing Oakland. Oh, fantastic! I'm just gonna get my ass whooped. Okay, so then Cooper. He also. I mean, look, he's been really good, but he suffered from that New Orleans game. Fumble man. Carson, did he fumble in this game, or did he finally actually manage to hold on to the ball? No fumbles. Way to go, buddy. No fumbles. 18.50 points for Chris Carson. Although I still think that Rashard Penny, once he gets back, he's going to take that place. Jacobs, who he keeps, you were saying, he keeps talking to him up and loving him. I mean, he's been, 12.8, that's fine. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying, he goes up against Chicago next week. I mean, but, yeah, Jacobs, 12.8. Witten, he picked up Witten, and all that talk about, because that's the other thing. He didn't want to give you the tight end. If you would have traded him Hooper, what does that make a difference of? 22 minus 7.
15 points, he would have won.
Yep, there you go. So, but he went for Witten, who got 7 impressively. Although, didn't he? What happened in that game? We were watching. Didn't he drop like an obvious, easy pass across the middle, and then he didn't really appear much after that?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Witten disappeared mysteriously.
Yeah. So 18.9 for Evans, coming down from his 44 from last week, but yeah.
Prater went nuts.
Yeah, 15 points. Look at that.
For a kicker.
Yeah, and 2 for the Minnesota defense. That's not even doubling. I don't even know how you do the math on that. But getting the same amount, except in the positive territory there. Montgomery, look at that, Mr. Montgomery, the trade man, 9.7.
Watch out, he might be fired up this week in some deals.
I know. Everybody, look out for some Montgomery. I mean, 9.7. I mean, come on, he's priced to move. Sutton got 24.20 points on his bench. Also, Cortland Sutton. I mean, he's really priced to move. I'm sensing a Sutton Montgomery bonanza coming at you.
Will Godwin make his way to the starting lineup?
Yeah, he's not played him at all, right? Not at all. No.
He's only played him in trade offers.
Yeah. I don't know. Actually, at this point, look. I mean, I don't know who they're playing next week, but we'll go over this, on the last part of the program. But at this point, you could play both Tampa Bay wide receivers and do pretty well. I mean, I don't think that it's that outlandish to play both of them.
Yeah,
it isn't. No.
I mean, if they're spreading around 60 points between the two of them in each game, who cares who gets you? You'll get them all. Maybe you want to think about that, Eugene. I know you won't. You want to keep those points on the bench.
Well, I mean, at this point, I wouldn't, going forward, benching Thielen, because that Minnesota offense, they just don't throw the ball. If they throw the ball, they throw it to the other team.
Yeah, and especially after Thielen says that, yeah. I mean, look, I don't know. Maybe he'll have the opposite of the Aguilar effect, but I know that if I was a quarterback and my receiver said that, basically throwing a shot at me, you would not see the ball anymore. Even if the play was called for you, oh, look at that. I'm going to audible out of this one. No, I think he's done. Look at the psychology of professional athletes. I don't think he gets the ball anymore. Put them both. Eugene, put in both. I don't know who they're playing this week. We'll go over that. But yeah, it doesn't even matter. They played the Rams and they got 60-something points.
Yeah.
Think about it. I don't know.
His bench put up 100 points. His bench would have beaten the Blues this week.
Yeah.
Actually, his bench would have beaten like 4 teams this week.
I know.
Yep.
Like I said, some people might say that's bad coaching. I would never. Never, Eugene. All right. Anything else that we'd like to say about this game?
Nope.
All right, let's move on to the last game of the week, which is the Wakanda Panthers taking down Tillett Trade Team 134.30 to 99 points. Wakanda continues to put up just massive point total. So 16.30 from Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes. Not that great, but whatever. Dorsett came back down to earth, but that's going to happen with New England wide receivers with only 3.9 points. Then Devontae Adams finally shows up with 28 points on that Thursday night game. Ingram with 8.10. I think he had a fumble in that game. Yeah, 8.10 points for him. Gallman just stepping right into the Saquon role and actually doing better than Saquon has all season long. I think he had a fumble in that game too. But, whatever. Greg Olsen, yeah, he's suffering too. I mean, I think everybody wants Cam back. I mean, they're winning games, but I'm talking about fantasy-wise, Cam was so much better to this team. Because where is this? I guess it's literally all going to McCaffrey. I didn't watch the game, but I mean, I'm looking at the numbers from Olsen, from Samuel, from Moore. Not like none of them are getting any numbers. Is it all going to McCaffrey? Is that what's happening? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not objecting to that. Feel free to continue, Kyle, if that's what you want to do. I'm just saying, if you want to spread it out to the rest of the league, maybe. And then Disley, out of nowhere, getting 18.70 points, 4 from the kicker and Oh, yes. His best player, the New England defense, with 25 points. Wakanda can't make a bench blunder because they're all in the hospital. For Tillett, 4.7 for Tom Brady. Ouch. Julio Jones, only 9.30 points, 8.4 for Chark. His running back showed up in this game. 21.90 for David Johnson and 26.5 for Fournette. 6.3 for O.J. Howard. Peyton Barber, who seems to be on the downcline. Because I guess they're giving it to Rojoke now. I don't know. 7.9. 13 points for Zerline and 1 point for the Jacksonville defense. I mean, I wouldn't call not playing Kyler Murray a bench blunder, but he also has a bunch of zeros there. I mean, he's still... I mean, even though the Raiders and the Patriots got rid of Antonio Brown, Tillett will not. McLaurin, 0 points. What happened in there? Did he get... What's going on here? He was inactive? He had a hamstring.
That one.
He was inactive, and Richardson still was that terrible? Oh, my God. This Washington team is atrocious. Yeah, I mean, Herndon comes back from suspension in a couple weeks. He's carrying 2 defense. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Tillett started out hot. He was definitely up there with the big boys that had the easy schedules, but I guess he didn't have an easy schedule anymore once he ran into Wakanda. So, I mean, once he got out of the the center FC East, he had to play some real games. I guess it's more difficult for him there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, granted, he would have beaten Zamunda. He would have beaten the first place vaunted Cyberdyne team over in St. Louis. And hockey just, I have to say, Wakanda just keeps putting up the points. It's so impressive that they could do that with half their team on hospice care. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, how much more can he lose? I mean, so Devontae Adams, he's not practicing. He has turf toe. Oh my God! I mean, if he loses Devontae Adams after everybody else that he's lost, and he can still put up points all those. I mean, what do you say?
It's good coaching.
Yeah.
And luck.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, no Breeze, no Saquon, no Djax, no Devontae Adams. If he still puts up the numbers this week against me, I mean, what can you say about the man? The man is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing: what happens if this team actually heals up? What if they take adamantium or whatever? I don't know. I don't know what happens in the Marvel movies. I didn't watch any of the Avengers. I'm sure you watched all of them. What do they take? Thor's hammer on or whatever. If he takes that, what do you do with this team? I mean, if they're putting up these kind of numbers with everybody in the hospital, what happens?
I don't know. You know, they'll just be putting up 200 a game.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, his entire bench is zeros and outs. Suspensions and everything. Because he will get Kareem Hunt back at some point. I don't know how that'll affect things, but, you know. Yeah, I mean, and for Tillett, I don't know. I think this was kind of an off week. I don't know. But, yeah.
Yeah, well, he was red hot. He was off to he was one of those leapfrog favorites, I'll call them.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't think look, here's the thing about any of the teams in this league. The records are atrocious. One win can vault you from last place to a playoff spot. So, there's really nothing that that any team can really hang their head or whatever, where they could just put their head down and whatever the metaphor is. I don't care. I'm tired. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, this league is definitely more like the AFC instead of the NFC.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the actual standings, like, of the league, and I think there are only like two or three teams above 500 in the AFC.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is definitely very similar. And we certainly have some teams that seem to be playing in the AFC East. Let's just say that. And maybe it will turn around, and maybe I will eat my words when these teams go undefeated. But at this point, with these scores, I don't know. But I mean, yes, Lombardi slash Slyberdine definitely benefits from the fact that Gordon's going to come back, and and he got these wins prior to all this happening. So, all right.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's it for the weekend review. We're going to take a quick break, and we were going to continue our series where we discuss things with each of the coaches. This week we all get to hear from Caden Casimir and the Lightning Rod, so that should be an interesting conversation. And then after that, we'll go over the standings and preview next week's games. But let's hear a quick word from our sponsor before then. So stay tuned, everybody. Do you have an overabundance of top-tier talent eating up valuable roster space with their double-digit point totals week after week when what you really need is someone like David Montgomery? If so, come on down to Eugene's Used Player Emporium. We have only the freshest low-end RB10s, mid-range flex 5s, and high-end suspended and injured players, hand-picked right out of the trash bin the night before and priced to move. This week, we're running a special on Jason Witten, and don't forget to mention our promo code ZAMUNDA for 10% off your total score. Eugene's Used Player Emporium, where these deals are insane. Welcome back to the program. So, as I had mentioned, we're going to do an interview, or at least we're going to try to do an interview with a new player every week. This week, we are joined by the coach of the Lightning Rods, the two-time Center Bowl champion, the one who has dominated center leagues until he came into the Fantasy Football League, and has done really well here as well. Mr. Caden Casimir, welcome to the program.
Thank you guys for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Odd when you're also on this call, right, Wakanda?
I am.
I'm sure you'll fall asleep by the time that we actually do the rest of the program tomorrow, but you're here for this, so this is exciting.
Most likely.
So, all right. Well, I mean, you just came off a 1-point win. I know before the show you were kind of discussing this, but why don't you let everybody know what was going through your mind during the game?
All right, so I think I went into the match with about a 20-point lead, and all I had to worry about was Pittsburgh's defense. I think they were average. I think the projection was like 12 points. I was like, all right, cool. I got a good at least 8-10 points, win, no problem. And now Cincinnati's offense has been decent. So I was like, okay, they should be able to score some points because Pittsburgh's defense has not been Pittsburgh defense of old. I'm like, they should score some points up. It really should be a big deal. All of a sudden, I'm watching the score. Pittsburgh scored again. Cincinnati didn't. Okay, Pittsburgh scored again. Cincinnati's not doing anything. Okay, 3 points. What's going on? Next thing I know, I'm seeing I follow a lot of people in sports world, Mike Freeman, a lot of people from Bleacher Report. All of a sudden, I see a post saying, "Oh my God, Pittsburgh has 8 sacks." I'm like, what is going on right now? So it's like I'm looking at the score, like, yo, the time ran out. Sitting on my hands, man. And luckily, I came out with that 1-point win.
Were you watching on Sunday night when in the Sunday night game when Bridgewater took that sack towards the end of at the end of the game, which actually put his field goal kicker
put them out of range.
Right, put them out of range, because that could have made... I mean, there's so many plays that could have made the difference. I know Geese has been harping on a third down call, which led to the drive that Ezekiel Elliott got his touchdown on. Like,
it is really amazing how none of us have played professional football. I'm not sure you guys play college. I have not.
No.
But just the things that when you sit here and you like, all right, common sense is to do A. But sometimes when you're in the moment, common sense just flies out the window and you do B, like that Teddy Bridgewater sack. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what you're thinking. Like, all right, we're in field goal range. All I have to do is throw the ball away. As long as it's not intentional grounding, and we're good, which is easy enough to do. I'm going to take a 12-yard sack to push my team out of field goal range. I didn't understand that at all. But these kind of things happen in the league all the time. People do too quick. Guys it has happened a little bit, but guys dropping the football because they want to celebrate a touchdown early. Oh, well, that's a touchback. Going the other way. The things that you see, it just boggles the mind sometimes.
Yeah, and it's amazing how it affects fantasy. But go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, like who here thought Tampa Bay was going to put up, 55 points?
Certainly not
me. Who saw that coming? Like the Rams scoring 40 on Tampa Bay? Yeah, their defense is bad. But how do they score 50, a double nickel? They put a Jordan number on y'all, man. What's up with that?
No, but that's what makes fantasy football so, like, unpredictable. And, like, I mean, Odwin, I know you were saying, like, it's all a matter of your starters, right? And now you have none of your starters, or like a third of your team is decimated. You see just how you have to make all these adjustments all the time. It's.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's actually a little bit ridiculous when it gets to my roster at this point, right? I mean, I clearly should not be a gambler because clearly I'd be I'd be out on the street by now. I mean, no, there's clearly a lot of compensating that I've had to do more than usual. I think than in comparison to most of the other teams in the league.
And yet your point total is, first of all, you had the highest score this last week, and you have the second highest point total all season long, losing your starting quarterback Saquon Barkley and Deshaun Jackson.
Right.
Largely on the backs of the New England defense.
Basically, I mean, look, no, there is an element of luck and fortune that continues to impact this fantasy football world. And sometimes I've been a benefactor of it, and lately I have not. So it's just it is. There is some strategy here. There's some strategy and a little bit of luck, and you just hope that the two align.
But speaking of defenses, so Lightning Rods, you also have the Chicago Bears, which is one of the other best defenses. We were talking the other day. Do you think, like, at this point, do you think that your defenses could command, like, if you were to ever trade them, would it command, like, what range of player would it, command at this point? I'm not, I don't need specific players or offers. That happens too many times during these interviews, and I'm not looking to trade a defense. I just want to know, like, what kind of, because, like, normally a defense, it's not even involved in a trade, or if it is, it's like a complete throwaway for nothing. But I mean, you could actually command real talent for this.
It's it's amazing because I honestly forgot, to be perfectly honest with you, how good the Bears defense was last year. They were pretty good last year. So I figured, all right, they might be solid, but I didn't expect them to be. All right, yeah, actually, let me rephrase that. Washington's terrible, so I expected them to destroy them, and they did. Minnesota, I don't know what Minnesota's doing, man. But I don't know what they're doing over there. But being the fact that they're all so good, and it's like, how many top defenses are there in the league? We got New England, we got Chicago, and who else after that?
I mean, Pittsburgh for 1 week at least, but other than that, nobody.
Yeah, no one. So it's like, I guess being the fact that there's so few, and this team almost guarantee you at least the 10 points, because they're going to get sacks. I mean, you see what Khalil Mack is an absolute monster. And next week, they're playing. Are they playing the Raiders next week? I know they're playing the Raiders soon. Is it next week?
I hope not. I think I'm playing you this week, so I hope not.
I know the Patriots play the Redskins, another garbage team. I mean, it feels like the Patriots play garbage team every week.
Yeah. I have something to say about that, but we'll get back to that in a second. So, yes, Chicago actually plays Oakland next week.
Ouch.
And Khalil Mack said he's been waiting for this game ever since he got traded. So, I mean, you figure and Oakland offensive line isn't that good. Oakland really isn't that good, period. Yeah, so the Bears are probably going to put up at least 15 points again. At least that. Probably without even trying. So you figure when you talk about that right now anyway, and then look at the rest of their schedule, I'm thinking like I would need something like I mean, it probably would have to be something like top tier, like a top tier tight end dish, because you're not going to generate as much as a wide receiver or running back as top tier. So you unless someone really falls for that, you ask, but you don't start to get that.
Of course,
you figure like a top tier tight end probably, which I think is a weird thing in itself for any defense to command any type of positional player of any real value. But being the fact that they're bringing you at least 10 points at least every week, and some weeks they're just going to go off on people.
And in addition to that, you have the fact that they're not going to go down with an injury. I mean, yeah, maybe one player on the defense might, but you're never going to have to worry about like, oh, this, it's going to, in mid game you're going to get 0 because somebody got knocked out. It's actually pretty solid to have a defense.
Yeah, any defense that can actually, especially like we said, there are just so many bad ones. And going to New England hasn't played anybody. They played no one. Now, I mean, in some instances you might say that about the Bears as well, but it's like, New England, yeah, God bless them. I hate the Patriots. Can't stand them. I'm a Jets fan.
Me too. I'm a Jets fan too. I hate it.
But it's like they are keeping, because if Buffalo had any type of offense, they would have beat the Patriots on Sunday. They have no offense. They have none. So, I mean, they're playing bad teams and they're taking full advantage of it. I mean, all you really can do is play your schedule, and they play the Jets. Jets offense.
And the Dolphins and the Bills.
The Dolphins are they're not trying to win 0. They're trying to win -1 as bad as they are. They're doing their best not to win anything. The Jets being as bad as they are, which hurts my heart, but they got a coach who has some kind of title that I don't know how he earned. Some offensive guru. Based off of what? Peyton Manning was Peyton Manning when he went to Denver. You get no props for that. Jay Cutler was never good. You get no props for that. So I'm saying, I don't understand how, what this is about. So hopefully that resolves itself sooner or later. But hey, those two being the fact of the only thing that scares me about the Bears defense is the fact that I don't trust their quarterback. And now he has some slight injury that he may not have to be out for. I don't like him as a quarterback. So I'm worried they're gonna eventually wear down. They may wear down at some point because I just don't think he's any good. I really think he's really overrated. I am not a Trubisky fan.
Yeah.
Like, somebody actually tried to trade me.
Was it Eugene?
I was like, dude, I cannot do it. I don't like your quarterback. I don't like his quarterback. I like Allen Robinson as a player. He is with the wrong QB for me. I'm like, no, I can't do it.
My guess is it's either Whalers or Eugene. So we'll talk about. I guess. Are you getting a lot of trade offers from Eugene's and the like when you get a trade in this league? are the bulk of them ridiculous and you just laugh them off?
No, I've gotten 3. I took 1. Trading Evan Ingram. What was it? Evan Ingram for Edelman. I was like, yeah, I'll do that trade. I'll take that trade. Mm-hmm. Because I honestly, I knew Eli was garbage. The moments have passed with him, and I didn't honestly think Daniel Jones will be as good as he has been. Now, keep in mind, he hasn't played anybody yet,
of course.
So we have to wait and see how that works out. And you figure, all right, it's going to take him some time for chemistry and all that. So I feel like if I'm getting Julian Edelman, Brady's gonna throw him the ball all the time anyway. So that's a win-win. That's a win trade for me, I figure.
Yeah, especially with them not having Gronk this year. So I do want to get to your thoughts about the auction because you were before we went on the air. You started talking about that, but before that, I actually am curious about because you've played. I don't know if you know this, but you're one of Gaze's biggest rivals in this league.
I did not know that.
But, Geese, do you want to go over the history that you have with the lightning rod since they've been in? Just so he knows. Because I was wondering if you were even aware that this rivalry existed, which last night added to it even further. But, Geese, why don't you just recap how much you, the lightning rods has been lightning, or what do you call it, bulletin board material for you?
All right, Gaten Casper, you are my nemesis, okay? So, I had a season where I started off 0-5, all right? And I scratched and clawed my way back to 4-5, and then who was standing in my way to get to 500? The lightning rod. Now, you may or may not remember this. I was on a roll. All I needed to do was get to 500, and my team was to take off, and you whipped my ass to send me to 4-6, and my team went into a tailspin. Missed the playoffs.
Oh man, I really wish I remember this. I'm gonna look this up right now.
I might have quit, actually. I might have quit that season, the next season, and then I came back. And let me see. I think there was a situation. Last year with Deshaun Watson in the auction. I was gonna get him on the cheap, right? It was going up to $19, and who steps in to bid him up to like $30, $40? The lightning rods. I think I forgot about that. That ruined my draft, which subsequently ruined my team.
And don't forget Gillisley.
Oh, yes. And then I get to play the lightning rods in week 1 of the year I won that was like 2 seasons ago. What do? You get a passes. Oh, man, I remember that game clearly. You probably don't even remember this. It was the Patriots versus
It was the first game of the season.
First game of the season. Okay, so Mike Gillisley comes in. They get the ball down to the 1 yard line. They throw a touchdown to Gronk, but it gets called back on some passes interference, which puts the ball where? At the 1 yard line. Who trots in for the lightning rods? Mike Gillisley. 1 yard touchdown run.
Well, I mean, all I can say is I'm sorry, bro. I didn't even.
No, it gets better. It gets better, lightning rods. It goes on. Fast forward to this game. Now I don't know what I was doing. So I paid $25 for Jordan Howard in the auction, right? Didn't start him. Okay. So I left 32 on the bench.
Oh yes, he went off. I was so happy to see that.
Okay. So I said, okay, 32 points in the bench. Let's see what Aguilar does. Big fat goose egg. Worst game of his career. So let's put 32 away. Let's spot you 0 points to my wide receiver. It's over, right? This week is over. I said, anybody but the lightning rods. I will find a way. I rummaged through the dumpster and came up with a ragtag bunch of losers. Scratched and clawed all the way up. Now, let me tell you a couple of tidbits from this matchup this week you may or may not have been aware of. You saw Russell Wilson laid an egg.
Yeah, he didn't play well.
Diggs was kind of all right in that Chicago game. Did you know that Eric Ebron had 0 points up until the last play of the game? He caught a Hail Mary in the end zone for 48 yards.
Caught a Hail Mary touchdown. Yep.
I almost fell out of my seat when I looked at his score. It was 0. All of a sudden, it was 11.8. I thought it was a typo. Okay. Edelman was supposed to be out with a chest injury. He ends up playing the game, getting 7 points. All right. There were a couple of things on my game. Kenyon Drake caught a touchdown pass when he was out of bounds in the end zone in the Miami game. Phillip Rivers hit Keenan McCardell for Keenan Allen for a 69-yard touchdown pass, all back on offensive passes interference, et cetera.
Justin Jackson, who you had actually to play.
Yes, Justin Jackson slipped on a banana peel. And then we go to Lutz, and inexplicably at the end of the Dallas game, all they got to do is kick a field goal, and Bridgewater takes a sack back to the 50-yard line.
I didn't understand that one. You didn't understand that one at all. I didn't understand that one.
Ezekiel Elliott gets a nice interference, or it was third down. They were off the field, but again, the refs were just in the pocket of the Cowboys that night. Penalty kept the drive going. Zeke goes in for a 1-yard touchdown. Now, you got to be feeling pretty good going into the Sunday night game, Keaton. 20-point lead and Ezekiel Elliott.
I was like, all right,
bag.
I should have this, man. I should have this.
It's in the bag. Who do I have? A kicker and a defense? Don't make me laugh. All right. So Will Lutz actually holds his own with Ezekiel Elliott. So now we need a 21-point miracle on the Monday night game, right? Ain't no thing, right? The Bengals, like you said, they can at least get some points.
That's what I thought.
First play of the game, the receiver for the Steelers fumbles the ball. Bengals kick a field goal. You got to be laughing at that point. Ha ha, it's over. And then for the rest of the game, it was like magic. Bengals were just getting sacked, throwing interceptions.
That's why they're called the Bungles.
And then we got down to the last drive of the game, and the Steelers got a sack. And then they got the ball back, and Bengals had 3 timeouts, and they just wanted to go home. They just let the Steelers take a knee. That was it. And there was a late fumble by the Bengals, and it went out of bounds. I mean, how many chances do you want? How much do you want, Gaten? 1 point.
No, man, this was like, in all honesty, man, I felt really good going into that Steelers game. I was like, all right, I should have this. Then I kept looking. I was like, what is going on? What is going on? What is happening here? It's just like, you know, I can honestly say, you know, this is one of the first years I've been really distracted because of my son. You know, sometimes you forget things like I should have known. I mean, things like. The Russell Wilson doing what he did was unexpected because you're playing Arizona. Arizona's terrible, bro. So I expected you to play better. But, I mean, I really thought, all right, Goff is playing Tampa, you're playing Arizona. I believe in you more because he runs on occasion, which is why he's my favorite player, Russell Wilson, because he kills you with his legs and his arm. So I expected him to get busy in that game, but he really didn't. I was disappointed in that, but... Yeah, man, these are the breaks, man. Like, I've been on the other side, like, at the beginning of the season, had, like, a 2-point loss and stuff like this. Stuff that just makes you... Actually, yeah, by 1.22. 1 point and a little more. I lost in week 1. I couldn't believe it. So, and in week 2, I lost by 3 points. I was like, this is insane.
Yep. If Aguilar makes 1 catch for 1 yard...
Well,
0.
Here's the funny thing. Thing with him. Because, you know, did you guys see that thing where the fans said when they were inspired Philadelphia?
Unlike Aguilar.
Catching babies. Unlike Aguilar.
I was telling Gaze that this was the Al Gore inconvenient truth.
Yep.
That's really what it was.
So knowing that you actually have this rival for years, does this make this win even more satisfying now?
Well, what this was going to make me do? One, yes, it does, because it's always nice to have a rival in whatever you're doing. But now, every time I play against him, every time I will look at his thing every week from now on, like, what's he doing? Is he losing? Is he doing it? Is he losing? Is he doing it?
Well, Gaten, I got to congratulate you this week. You held on. 1 point. Win's the win.
I appreciate it, man. I mean, I'm talking like nail biter stuff like this. This shouldn't be going down this way. This shouldn't be happening like this.
That's why they call me Hagler.
Yeah.
As an outsider, that was extremely entertaining to watch and view this weekend, I have to say.
Yeah. It definitely was a lot of fun. So, you were talking before we went on the air about the auction and how this league is the first auction league that you've done. So
yes.
Why don't you go over just what your thoughts are on it and how do you like it and all that stuff?
All right. Well, like I said when we started talking a little before, I never did an auction prior to you guys. So once that's what we started doing, I was just like, what the hell is this? Trying to do. I used to be a dude that used to you look at the ESPN 100 and going through all that stuff. I was like, well, that's still good to know, but it's irrelevant now because, everyone's up for grabs. So at first I thought I wasn't going to like it until I understood exactly what it was. I was like, oh, wait a second. You have a shot at every player that comes up? and you actually have a chance to do this, I'm like, oh, this is nice, you know. I mean, I still, like I said, I still enjoy Snake Draft, but it is definitely number 2 for me now compared to an auction draft. Auction draft all the way number 1. The fact just to be able to get at least have a chance anyway, to get every player, not, oh, dang, I was going to take that guy. Dang, now who I got to go? No. You're in it to win it, man. You bid that money if you want that dude that bad.
Yeah, that's what we loved about it, is the fact that, you know, you at least have a shot. Because otherwise, there's, you know, you get a tough draft pick, and that's it. You could just you'll never see him. And so, yeah. It makes it. And the strategy that goes into it. Like, Odwin, how much did you spend on Saquon?
$82.
I mean, I understood why, but I was like, I mean, I even got on the Saquon bid for a little bit, but after I was like, yo, I'm done. I can't do it.
So what's
like, I always
okay.
I mean, the thing about it though is there are but so many like elite number 1 running backs in the league. There's only really a handful of those guys, so you understand why it happens. But sometimes, like, okay, because I mean, after that, I got Ezekiel Elliott a little bit after that. But I'm like, dang, man, these guys kill your budget, man. So you also have to think about other, you know, all right, have enough money left over, or if I'm spending so much money on this guy, where am I cutting corners somewhere else? Hopefully I can get someone else good on the cheap. It's a lot of thinking.
Were you concerned about Elliott before the season, not, you know, holding out just like Le'Veon Bell did last year?
No, not at all. The reason being for that is Pittsburgh ain't Jerry Jones. And that dude, after being what he knows that this team is, you know, it's carried by Zeke. Dak does a lot, yes, but
not
Zeke
this
stirs
week.
that strong. You know, yeah, exactly. But Zeke stirs that strong, man. Like, and after everything, he's seen this firsthand. He had Emmett. When Emmett wasn't there, they lost. So he's like, you know what? You know, he's gonna find a way to, you know, to get his offensive players there. They're gonna lose somebody on defense, probably, you know, the corner. I keep hearing because he can't pay everybody. But I really wasn't aware. I was like, there's no way the dude is not gonna be suspended for anything. He's actually gonna be there. He's gonna get this sign. This is gonna get done.
Yeah, I mean, and then you were able to get him on the cheap because of that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, definitely $82. That's for sure.
No, I know. So what do you generally try to build your team around? Like, I could tell you, I certainly try to usually build it around like running backs, and I usually like a tight end, and I lucked my way into one, but like a cheaper one than I thought that I would get. But I mean, like, what? And I normally don't give a crap about quarterbacks because there's a million of them.
Right.
But then again, I have Lamar this year, so I actually everything that I thought is gone out the window. But like, what is your general philosophy of what you like?
For me, running back was always get a good running back because, like I said before, there's maybe 5 top elite guys, if that, right? So it's like you got to get one of those guys because those guys always have the ability to go off, you know, any given week. Those guys, you know, they're going to get fed the ball. They're going to have their opportunities to do something in a game. After that, like you said, quarterback, always save it for later. But if I can get a Deshaun Watson, or if I can get a Russell Wilson, because those guys are dual threats, and they're not bad dual threats. And what I mean by that is, you see Josh Allen, he's supposed to be a dual threat, right? No, he's really not. Like Cam Newton used to be that, but he let that whole Superman thing get into his head, and the fact of him thinking he's gonna run over everybody, though all those injuries are now have accumulated on him, and he's paying for it now. So we don't know what's gonna happen with him. Hopefully, he'll come back to being, you know, somewhat of what we know, but it's almost to the point like, yeah, every time he gets hit, is he gonna get up? You know, so I don't even know with that. But get a good quarterback, a good dual threat quarterback. And try to get try to get at least one good wide receiver.
Right.
Try to get one. I mean, I tried Odell, didn't work. Tried Julio, didn't work. I mean, I know the Rams, technically Woods is the number 2, but I figure, you know, since Cooper Kupp is coming off an ACL injury, he's still going to do his work, but he's still, you know, Woods should still get his fair amount of the ball, and he has, so that's worked out.
Well,
but definitely, running back is always one for me.
Well, he certainly did against the Hagglers this week because
that's
2 weeks. That's 2 weeks in a row where Geese has been beaten by Rams wide receivers, different ones actually. So what does the lightning rod signify in terms of your team name?
Well, I'm a train operator over here in New York City. Working the subway, operating the subway trains. So just electricity, third rail, voltage. That's where it came from. That's all. There's no big thing to it.
Just put a logo on there.
Well, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah,
definitely thinking about it. Probably for next season, I'll get something up there.
Yeah. So, Geese, any other questions? Odwin, what are you doing? Are you cooking food over there? I don't know. What is that sound over there?
Yeah, I'm making coffee right now.
Are you making it on, I don't know, on an assembly line? What is going on?
Don't worry about what I'm doing, man. Don't worry about it over here. We handle our own business here in Wakanda. Don't worry about what I'm doing.
You're in Wakanda right now, so you must be in a medical tent, knowing how many injuries you have on your team.
Okay, so just for my reference, you have Saquon. Who else did you lose?
Breeze.
I lost Breeze. I've now lost Devontae Adams. I've lost Deshaun Jackson.
Oh man, you're taking them hits. Okay.
Who's even left? Who's actually left from your? Anyone?
From the starters, I don't even know who's left. The defense is left.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And they're the ones who get all your points.
Well, hey, man, Daniel Jones seems to be keeping you full a little bit, so that's good, right?
Huh?
So, I guess you ride that wave until you can, and hopefully, Drew Brees supposed to come back in 2-3 more weeks somewhere.
Look, the news reports saying Saquon is not taking any surgery. Okay,
that's good.
That's good news, right? Gallman didn't play like a slouch in Saquon's absence. That's for sure. So we'll do what we do week to week.
And you have Kareem Hunt just sitting there waiting to come in.
Yeah.
I mean, what'd you get? Like on your bench, did you have zero? I don't think you had anything. I don't think you left anything on the bench because you can't, because nobody's playing on your bench.
he didn't. I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, Jesus, man. Like, really? Like, I'm looking at this. I'm just like, really?
No, I know. And even your backup quarterback, Andy Dalton, 4.64. Wow, it's amazing. So, well, I feel
he's done over in Cincinnati. I think he's done finally.
I don't think he is. I just think that's how he plays under the lights. I think that.
You're right. Big games like that under the lights, Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night, he sucks. He cannot play those games.
Exactly. So I was totally expecting this. What is your general I know you said that you're occupied with your son this year, but in general, well, first of all, in the past, what was your I guess your regimen, or what would a general week look like in terms of preparing for a game, and now what is it like?
Well, before it was any injury report, scouting report, I would listen to fantasy football, anything on XM radio, anything I could find. Now, no time for all that. Definitely no time for any of that. It's like, all right, maybe I can listen to a fantasy focus podcast in the car drive from home to work and work to home. That's pretty much it. Because anytime I'm trying to do anything else, it's, make sure he's entertained, he's fed, he's changed. Is he asleep? Okay. What can I do now? Eat, maybe. So, I mean, just from how much, and I enjoy, diving into that and listening to shows, and, they'll bring up players that you haven't thought about, especially before your draft comes. Man, I'll have a pad out. I have lists, top 10 this, top 10 that, top 10 this, possible here. I ain't got time for none of that right now. I'll probably be able to get back to that for at least another year or two. At least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it changes everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love him to death. I'm happy he's here, but good God, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, thankfully, me and Geese have no lives, so this is all we do. Well, so who else has questions? I feel like I'm monopolizing the questions. Go ahead.
Do you have a rivalry with Audwin, being as he's your cousin or anything like that? How's that go?
Well, I mean, that's blood. I mean, if we're not together, we're against each other. You know, I mean, I love that boy to death. Everybody know that. But whenever I'm playing him in fantasy, oh man, I'm trying to go for this. I'm like, I gotta get this W, man. I gotta beat this dude. I gotta beat this dude.
I mean, we might have Center Bowl rivalry.
Oh yeah, we have.
I mean, we'll see. Here's the thing with that though. See, y'all never let us play on the same team. I understand why. But, I mean, y'all never let us do it. I mean, please. I mean, I would love to have done it once, but it is what it is. I mean, I don't enjoy tackling Audwin. What are you, 6'2", 6'3", something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. So, and I'm 5'6", so that's no fun. I would do it if I had to, but I don't look forward to that.
Well, we've moved on. Well, because now that we're old, we've at least moved on to two-hand touch. But even still, you were unstoppable in all those Center Bowl games. I can't. You pretty much. This is why you haven't been on Audwin's team ever. I mean, you look at the one in DC. I mean, you basically won that game for them. So.
I mean, I do what I can, man. I do what I can. I mean, Football is one of those games that I've always loved. Unfortunately, when I after living with Auburn, I came back home with my mom here in New York. Single parent, you can't do everything that you want to do as a kid. So there was no organized football for me until my mid to late 20s. So that's when I started playing organized football with the guys that I played with, and my love for the game was still there. And then when you guys had that. Say, hey, we do Center Bowl and all about me. I was like, I get to show off my skills, what I've been doing all year. Let's go, bro. I need to actually get back into shape, man. I am falling out of it quickly, so I got to start practicing and training. Period.
Yeah, I got it.
Anytime I can do it, man. Just to have it, just to say, hey, I did this day. It's a good feeling.
And do you know which team? Because you in that DC, I think the Whalers and the Blues, they were both on your team in that game. So you should just know that if you want to have any little rivalry with them, they feel free to beat them down. Being that they're in first and second place right now in this league, feel free to take it take it to them.
I will do my best.
So have you paid any attention to the rest of the teams in the league, like what they've been doing? Because I keep harping on the fact that they have New England like schedules. It seems to me some of the top teams that are 4-0 right now. Have you even noticed that, or is it just why you just focus? Like, do you focus on your team? Do you focus on the team that you're playing, like the matchups? Do you try to do any of that stuff?
I try to focus on my opponent, on what they're doing. I mean, this week, even though I didn't realize, I had his rivalry, but I was focusing on it. Like, I really was very much into that game. Like, one, because I was 1-2. I was like, all right, I win this game. I'm 2-2. I'm at least back into the hunt. Because how the season started out, losing those two games by combined 4 points, that was just pathetic. So just to get back to 500 was the goal. So I was like, all right. So now I started really just watching what was going on. And the other thing that I have to keep myself for is like I'll be a little late to the waiver wire, just a little late for the waiver. Or I think about something. Hey, how about this guy? Somebody who was available a week or two earlier, and I said nah because whatever the reason. And then all right, I should pick him up. Well, he's gone by then. So I have to stop doing that. I mean, perfect example of that. Seattle's tight end Disley. Is it Disley?
Yep. I
was like, I was sitting there for like 2 weeks. I was like, yo, I really should pick this guy up. I said, nah, I don't know if I want to have Seattle's quarterback and their tight end. But he throws to that guy all the time. You should pick him up, right? I didn't do it.
See, but
and it's close to me.
See, but Geese actually, you have the twofer philosophy, right? Which is why he wanted Watson so bad. I guess it was last year, right?
Yeah. I was trying to go for his quarterback to the receiver to get double the point.
He likes to get them all in one play.
I get that. The only issue I have of doing that is when the bye week comes. Now it's two, like, let's say outstanding producers you have to fill in for instead of one. That's the only reason why I'm not so big on that. I mean, that's my own personal thing with it.
Right. That makes total sense. So, Manny, you have any questions for him?
Yes. Have you guys made any trade offers to other teams, or were the trades that were with your team, were they offered by other players?
I personally have not made any trades offers to anyone yet. I've been thinking about that actually this week, trying to see if I can figure something out.
What is your philosophy on trading? Do you prefer a kind of using your guys you get in the draft and using the waiver wire more, or do you think trading is an important part of fantasy football?
I mean, I'm a waiver wire guy first. I mean, hit the waiver wire as hard as you can. Unfortunately, I'm playing with a bunch of guys who are pretty smart, so it's a little difficult to get. Unless you're lucky or you're paying attention. This is where like all that research I used to do would come in handy, but I don't do anymore. Like unless you know a diamond in the rough early, like the Seahawks tight end, who I should have took, but I said nah because of that whole thing and rule in my head. And then you see what he's doing. He's scoring at least a touchdown every week. Like, what the hell were you thinking, man? You should have did it anyway.
Yeah, and in this league, I find the exact same thing. Like, there is first of all, I find the waiver wire just barren. There is nobody available, and anytime you even hear anybody, you're like, oh, let me go check him out.
He's gone.
Yeah, he is gone. I don't even know. There's such trash that's left. I don't even know what anyone does. Which I think
red wire sometimes it's so hit or miss, man. It's so hit or miss.
And then I also don't even know what to bid ever because people are just paying outlandish sums of money. Like for the one guy that you're like, all right, well, this is the week I'm going to target him. Well, then it's like, oh yeah, I'll pay a quarter of your free agent budget on that. It's like,
yeah, that I'm not doing. I'm not going to do that. But I mean, here's the funny thing though. I think for however many years, I don't know how long I've been doing the auction draft with you guys. Maybe you guys can tell me. I'm not actually sure. I don't think I've actually ever proposed a trade with anyone before. I don't think I have. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think I have.
Probably.
I'm usually, hey, they come to me, hey, you want to trade? I'd be like, no. Maybe. But I'm really like I have to get out of that mindset. Just like, you know what? If I have a strength somewhere and I can afford, to move something to strengthen somewhere else, you got to consider these things.
Well, also, I mean, to be honest with you, there haven't been many. Like, I think there were like 4 trades in total last year. And maybe it's a product of the fact that there's nobody available in waivers. But there have been a ton of trades that have happened this year. Most of them with the Hagglers, but I mean, there's just been a ton of trades. I mean, haven't you traded people to your team and then immediately traded them back? And then I know there was something like in the works for somebody in Tariq Cohen, and then
and then I came back to Tariq Cohen. He's like, "Oh, I released him." I was like, "What?" Oh, all right. So I ended up getting him later anyway.
Right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I was a trade with Gessler. That was a trade. I was like, "All right." He needed. Yeah, Evan Ingram for Edelman. Yeah, that was that trade. I was like, I can live with that trade. I think Edelman will. I mean, he's somewhat hurt right now, but he'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I got an angry
Antonio Brown out of the picture. That's looking good.
That guy right there. There's a subject I'd like to touch on.
Sure.
When I mean an absolute idiot. I've never seen something in my life where you've kissed, was it like $60-some million between all 3 teams or whatever that you missed because you couldn't control yourself and everything had to be on social media from when you were in Pittsburgh's locker room with Facebook Live did. If I was a teammate, I would have threw my helmet at him straight up. I would have cracked his head with my helmet. You get out of there. Oakland gives you $30 million. All you gotta do is show up to work.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do. Something that we do every day. We just don't get paid $30 million to do it. Get up and go where you gotta be. Go put in your time and then come back home. You freeze your feet. Nothing to do with them. You have a helmet issue. Nothing to do with them. Something that you actually knew about 5 years prior, by the way. But you decided, I don't know what that was about. You decide to get into an argument with the general manager that almost gets physical. Whether or not you call him a racist slur or not is irrelevant. The fact is you were trying to get to a fight with the GM, a physical fight. They say, okay, mind you, if you didn't do any of that, that Monday, 2 days later, you would have got your money guaranteed. Couldn't control yourself. They said, well, hey, because after what you did in Pittsburgh, I'm sure every team had some kind of clauses and conditions in the contracts with you. Yo, you act up, we're doing X, and then you're losing money. You knew it. I'm sure Drew Rosenhaus read it to you. You knew what was going to happen. Do this, okay, you're out. So then you go running through the field in your backyard. I'm free. Though you just lost $30 million guaranteed. Okay, great. You go to New England, and you knew that contract was going to have was going to be laden with clauses, and it was. It was. Hey, you do anything, whatever, we're cutting you. You do anything to make this team look bad, you're out. You send texts to a woman, threatening texts and pictures of her family. What in the holy hell, man? What you don't want to get paid? Cool, that's your business. And now he's gonna file his grievances, which is his right. You know, there's gonna be lawyers gonna take that. Take up the case, of course, because you're paying them. You're gonna file 9 grievances against the NFL, the Raiders, and the Patriots trying to recoup some money. It's interesting, man.
No, I know. Well, as a fellow Jet fan, would you be surprised if he ever landed on the Jets, being that we take...
He's not going to be a Jet. That's never going to happen. First off, you could not put this dude around Sam Darnold, man. You could not have that.
Yeah, but
you could not have that.
Reunite him with Le'Veon Bell, try to go against New England like that.
Listen, he didn't have an issue with Lev Bell, though. This is the problem. We don't know what his problem is.
No, I know.
So I don't know how to treat that. How do you treat that? I don't know how you deal with someone. We don't know what your issue is. You were in New England. All you can do is fly out and you text and threaten to mention to people. If they're not going to deal with you, no one's going to deal with you, bro. At least not this year. No,
I know.
No.
Look, I'm not saying that this is something I want. I'm just saying that the Jets... I think you're a Mets fan too, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I am too. These are the kind of decisions that our teams make. Just the dumb, the dumbest. Yeah.
Let me. I'm gonna break this down real quick. Ownership sucks for both teams, the Mets and the Jets.
Yeah.
Woody Johnson says to his brother, "Hey, I'm going to go be what is he? The special ambassador
I think
to
England
wherever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go be the special ambassador over there. Here." You've never done anything with football before. Run the football team. I'm sorry, what? Okay. From his bad hirings to, Mike McCann's here, and it just looks like he's not drafted or he's not drafted or he's not drafted. Well, fine. With all that stuff, you should have fired him as soon as the season was over. It made no sense to let him go draft and then use your free agency money and then fire him. What is that? That makes no sense. Because if you're going to get a new voice, he may not have wanted to sign the player that he signed. He may not have wanted to draft the players that he drafted. Why would you do that? So basically, here's what you did. Because the fact that you waited to actually do that move, you wasted this entire season. You wasted a year of Sam Darnold's career. 1. 2, you also wasted a year of his rookie contract. Because you know how it is. If he shows and proves, you got to pay him. And then there goes the salary cap issues and how are you going to pay everybody else because you got to pay the quarterback $35, $40 million. So I'm like, why would you do that? You should have gotten the GM and fired McCagnon, hired the GM, let him figure out this coach. By the way, this coach and GM reporting to you, that shit is whack. It does not work. Knock it off. Get your GM, get one system, coach goes to GM goes to owner. I think Joe Thomas seems to be a guy. Since he rose through the ranks and he was through a very good organization, he might be the guy. We have to wait. Unfortunately, I have to wait a whole another season, another offseason to see what he actually had because, well, like I said, You let the other guy spend the money and do the draft. So we have to wait and see. Adam Gase, by the way, I never liked that hire. He sucked in Miami. You were there for 3. It was Todd Bowles. Sucked. He's a white guy. The first year, I think they won 10 games, and I think might have made the playoffs, I think, or something to that effect. And then it was 6 wins and 6 wins the next 2. He gets fired. Why would you hire this man? It makes no sense. Why would you hire? You saw what he did. Why would you hire him? And then the Mets. Holy cow, man. You got this dude who was an agent. What's the first thing he does? I'm going to sign all of my former clients, whether they were good or not. You saw, as an owner, Jeurys Familia when our bullpen was bad last year. He was a big reason why. Why would you let this man sign him to a 3-year contract? Why would you do that? Why would you go get Robinson Cano, who's 37, coming off of PED suspension? He's not going to get any better. He's 37, 38 years old. What are you doing?
Because that's what these teams do.
The Mets lost this year in the offseason, honestly. Because if they would have shorted up their bullpen, they'd be in the playoffs. They blew, 30-some saves this year? If they would have fixed your bullpen, if you would have signed Britton, if you would have signed Ottavino, which would have been from – and then if you really wanted to take on Cano's contract, hell, you could have signed Bryce Harper for that money. It's about the same.
Yeah.
Per year contract, it's about the same. What are we doing? We should have been in the playoffs. You wasted Pete Alonso's rookie year. You don't expect him to hit 53 homers next year or whatever. You don't expect that. You take 35, 40, but you don't expect 50 anything. You don't know what Zario's going to do. You don't know if McNeil's going to lead the league in hitting. Be up there with the league leaders in hitting. You don't know any of that stuff. And you still didn't fix the bullpen. I mean, come on.
That's what they do. So do you find yourself, because you root for these teams like I do, just getting more involved in fantasy? Because it's like, well, it's not like I'm ever gonna find myself on a Sunday being like, I need, like, I feel bad for people that root for teams that have a chance, because there might be a game where they're like, I need this guy, they're playing my team. I got to root for my team. Sometimes they sit their own players against. Like, as a Jets fan, I never have to sit. If my team is playing the Jets, I'm playing them all and I'm rooting them for them all because I know that there's no chance. It doesn't matter.
Pretty much, it's a damn shame, man. And I understand there's a lot of the hard decisions are the hard decisions, but there's plenty of easy decisions that they mess up. Plenty of easy ones you mess up. Fire the GM. Get the new guy, let him run the show, draft free agency block. I can guarantee you the Jets would have looked a lot different this coming season if Thomas was there earlier.
Well, also the mono.
They would not have been.
The mono hurt.
Yo, that right there. When I heard that, I was like, only the Jets. This could only happen to the Jets.
Exactly.
You're not hurt. You didn't kiss some dirty broad or whatever the hell you did. You got mono, man. Like, really?
I heard.
I couldn't believe that.
I was watching Rich Eisen, and he just said that my favorite thing is like, what's the one team that Belichick hasn't traded with until like 2 weeks ago, and it was Demaryius Thomas. He traded, and he's like, everybody's looking at at Sam Darnold. Maybe you should start looking at Thomas and see if he's a patient zero. Because it wouldn't put it past Belichick to infect a player just to get the Jets quarterback out of there.
You never know, man. I mean, in his case, you never know.
Exactly.
But it's like stop making the simple decisions harder than they gotta be, because there's plenty of other hard decisions that exist.
Absolutely.
Stop doing stupid stuff. Adam Gase should not be here. I hope Joe Thomas fires his ass after this year. It probably won't happen, but he should. I'm like, you don't need to be here. Get out of here.
All right.
Did you hear this news that Sean McDermott escorted Bill Belichick's son off the field during pregame warm-ups for the Bills game?
No, I did not hear that.
Yeah, because apparently he thought that the son was there spying on the Bills.
Well, see,
during warm-ups.
I mean, hey, I understand. I would do the same thing. I get it because look, man, we know with Spygate. Here's something else there. When they got caught, and Goodell was like, "Oh, it was only 10 tapes." We found out, 4 or 5 years later, whatever it was actually 40 tapes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, the dude cheats. So he's like, you have to go through all these extra precautions. Like, remember what the Eagles did in the Super Bowl? Look, we had to rehearse in the dining hall of the restaurant because we didn't know, what this guy was gonna do. It's a shame that he's probably living off, people's fear. I'm sure he is, their fear and paranoia. But
what's even more a shame is that he was a Jet for 24 hours or whatever it was.
24 hours, he just had to get out of here. I mean, I understand it because the ownership here is just they just don't do things right.
No,
and
but when they finally pull one off, it's gonna feel so good.
Well, I mean, like I said, my fingers are crossed on the current GM. I think he might be the guy to with his scouting background, and I mean with the podcast I listened to, he was one of those guys that was named like a hot climber, and the Jets got him. Cool. Mm-hmm. So he built good people around him, scouting staff and all that. We're going to see. I'm just mad we have to wait a whole year instead of letting him do what he had to do last year to at least start the process.
It's been 50.
Now it's like, you're behind. You're behind.
It's been 50 already. Whatever. What's another year after it's been 50?
I guess, but it's like, gee, man. Because you saw what the Colts did. Once they got Chris Ballard in, you saw how quickly that team turns around. How quickly he turned it around. That's why I'm like, you get somebody who knows what they're doing, you put them in, let them start going to work immediately. You put our guy behind the 8 ball because our owner's an ass. So.
No, I know. All right, so we've been on for a while. So, is there any other questions that anybody wants to ask before we start to wrap this segment up? And thank you for your time. So, go ahead, guys.
Yep.
No, that's pretty much it. Any decisions you regret in the auction, not picking somebody up, or are you pretty satisfied with your team? What's your current status?
I wish I looked at the tight end market in the draft more than I actually did. I should have. See, I left. I think I left too early because there was still more people to get, and I was just tired, so I had to get off. But
what was your?
For the most.
You picked up Font or whatever. What Geese was
commenting
on
I picked
up
that. Noah Fant.
I remember listening to him deep in the early before the season talk about that. Is that kind of where it came from? He ended up getting 11 points.
I heard about Noah Fant because this podcast I listened to, Stick to Football from Bleacher Report. They were talking about Noah Fant when they were talking about him for a while about how good a player he is. So, and like any receiver, you're beholden to your quarterback. Joe Flacco isn't so good. So, I mean, once that actually, if Drew Lock is what they think he is, or if they got to get somebody else, I think you'll end up seeing this guy be explosive. He has all the tools, athletic, fast, strong, all that good stuff. So his talent is there. So I just took a shot on him. I need a tight end. I traded to Ebron. I have, not Ebron. I traded to Ingram. Got Ebron. I said I need to get somebody else. Fant was there because I was looking at Disley. And I was like, can't pull the trigger. And I was like, all right. I'm not no to lose. I don't know. There really wasn't any other tight end for me to really snag up. So,
well, make an offer to your cousin right after we get off the air. How beholden are you to your bench? Do you because are they players that you like, or are they just expendable at this point?
I mean, for the most part, looking at my bench, I think for the most part, a lot of them are interchangeable. I don't think I really have anybody that, maybe with the exception of golf. After that, everybody else, some of these guys I tried to get rid of already, and it didn't work. I tried to put them, pick somebody up, and it didn't work out. So, Latavius Murray has been an absolute failure. I figured they were going to try to use him like Mark Ingram. Well, that's not working out so well. So, that was disappointing. So, I don't know. It's a fluid situation down there. That's for sure.
Yep. All right. Well, so first of all, thank you for your time. Congratulations on your son. Sorry that it's taking up the time. To focus on fantasy. But you're back 2-2. You're in 6th place. You'd be in the playoffs right now if the season were to end right now. So, you've had multiple seasons where you've gotten to the playoffs, and you've just found out that you have a new rival besides just your cousin. So, so yeah, thanks for your time. Anybody else have anything else?
No. Thank you.
Really good.
All right, maybe you'll actually listen.
It, guys.
Yeah, maybe you'll actually listen to the podcast now.
Yep. Yep, that is now on the list.
Yeah, you'll get valuable insight about. You're listening to these other podcasts. They're telling you stuff that's going on, in the NFL and stuff. We're telling you what's actually happening in this league. It gives you valuable insight that you can't get literally anywhere else.
Agreed.
I know. All right. Well, so thanks so much for your time. We're gonna take a break right now, and then, in reality, we're gonna go till tomorrow, and then review the games. But on the show for everybody else, we'll be right back. Are you a Super Bowl champion quarterback? A running back that went at the top of most people's drafts? Or one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, but you've been selected by the Panthers and now fear for your health and safety? Are you afraid that the $82 or less that the team paid for you won't cover your mounting medical bills? Does the prospect of navigating the daunting Wakanda healthcare system send shivers down your thumb or ankle? Well, fear no more. We here at Wakanda Mutual have decades of experience helping professional athletes get back on their feet and onto the field. With low deductibles and access to the best hospitals in the Marvel Universe, our team of specialists can save you from heartache when your body aches. Wakanda Mutual. Let us nurse your injuries. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Geese just right now, as Manny and Audwin have left us. But we're going to pick up where we left off, which is the standings. As right now, so there's a little bit more separation than there was last week, but not much, to be honest with you. As at the top of the standings, we have the Blues and the Whalers at 4-0. Then Hackettstown Finest, the only 3-1 team in the league. The 1603ers, Wakanda Panthers, Lightning Rods, and Tillotray team at 2-2, and then everybody else is 1-3 all the way down to 12. So as we were kind of discussing before, one win just changes the dynamics of a team season at this point.
Yes, and it just goes to show you, the difference. So 1 point, okay? You guys take it for granted. I'm not anymore. 1 point changes the outlook of your whole season. You laugh it off saying, what's a point? It's big.
Yeah, you're
dumpster fire, bottom third of the league. And there's a middle what's that? Homeless shelter part, and then there's the upper echelon Hilton. So 1 point changes you from homeless shelter to dumpster fire.
Yeah, you would actually have the same record as the Lightning Rods right now, and he would have yours.
Yes.
So yes, had Aguilar gotten one catch. So all right, before we go into the preview of next week's games, let's take a look at some of the transactions that have taken place in the free agency wire. I guess the biggest one that stands out is the man that was on my team doing nothing for weeks on end, and then finally I drop him, and of course that's the week that he blows up. Now granted, it was against the Bengals, but yeah, Jalen Samuels blows up and gets his money. He gets paid. $65 by the Whalers. Woo. I know.
That's Hawkinson money right there.
That's more than Hawkinson money. And we know how well Hawkinson, panned out. Let's see. I mean, when you're spending that kind of money, expect a point or two out of it.
Yes.
Following.
Literally. Not even two, just a point.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's bold. Look, I don't think it's a bad... Look, I certainly bid on him. But, and I, in a way, I'm kind of glad that he got him, because I would have been pissed to pick up my own man that I had just a couple days earlier. And there was no way I was going to pay that much money for him. I mean, look, Whalers expressed some interest in James Conner the week before. He was going to give me garbage for him. I said that he was going to have a big game against Cincinnati, and he did. And Samuels got involved finally, mostly as a quarterback almost in the Wildcat or whatever the hell they were doing over there, because their actual quarterback is horrific. And I think the bigger problem is it Memphis that has Juju Smith-Schuster now? Because that guy is not going to see the ball if the quarterback can't reach him. He's the one that's going to hurt the most. We'll see about Samuel. Look, I think Samuels and Connor will have an okay rest of the season. Connor, by the way, no longer on my team. I sold him high. Hi and goodbye to Zamunda.
Yes.
Who I was having a conversation with earlier with Dr. Hockey, and he's like, how did the man start off with Chubb, Kamara, and Kerryon Johnson, and now he only has Kamara left, soon to probably not even have him. It's amazing how he does this to himself every year. And the thing is, you look at each of his trades, and a legitimate case can be made for each of his trades, but then in the aggregate, you look at the whole thing, and you're like, wow, how did this happen? But I don't know. I mean, because you traded with him too, right? You.
I gave him Emmanuel Sanders and Josh Gordon both in his lineup for Nick Chubb.
Yeah, and I gave him a new quarterback. I'm like the Robin Hood right here. I gave him his new quarterback, Dak, and Connor, and Burkhead.
Oh my God, have we literally built his entire team?
Pretty much, it looks like that.
Yeah. Yes, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at Nick's roster right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. All 4 people have question marks. So he might have to go into the cryo chamber to get replacements. And another person has a question mark, and another one's not available in the replacement area. So I'm not even sure if Nick Zaveri is going to be able to fill the team this week.
I mean, he did field a full team last week and still only got 69 points. So really, what's the difference?
Sure, that's
yeah. So anyway, $65 for Samuels. I don't blame Whaler. I mean, I think that's a bit excessive, but I don't blame Whalers for going to pick him up. I think that's a decent pickup, just not for the price. I
just have one question as far as these free agents go to Dr. Hockey. This goes out to Wakanda. Are you mocking me? Picking up Nelson Aguilar for $15?
Oh, I should get Hockey on the show somehow, because he kind of is. He kind of wants to pick up Aguilar to play you this week and then have Aguilar beat you.
I saw that. I sensed a little bit of that. I saw that in the pickups. I'm like, are you mocking me, Dr. Hockey, right now?
No, Judge. No, I'm not mocking you. Then explain that pickup.
Explain that free agent pickup.
My entire club has the flu.
So he picked him up for
get that. The
$15.
entire club has the flu. How is that possible? So I picked up this ridiculous receiver for you.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see how that pans out for you.
Actually, he didn't. I was actually the one who brought that up to him about him wanting to do that. He actually just picked him up because he thinks he's gonna have a good game this week. Because I don't know. But it would be quite ironic if Aguilar, makes a difference this week for you.
He better not do diddly squat.
So then, otherwise, Mike Williams being picked up for Clam Crowder. So New Jersey Clam Crowder is available. Brown, one of the many Browns, was picked up by the finest. 27 for Mohamed Sanu. That seems a bit much, but whatever. That was your last time, if I'm not correct, right?
I am literally $0.
Oh, congratulations. This is pretty
we
early.
Do that every year. We're the first ones to zero.
Yeah. You got there in lightning rod speed. Beasley picked up for $14 by the 1603ers. We were not happy with our with our receptions last week, so we needed to do something to do that. And so I don't know how well Beasley will do given these circumstances at quarterback, but whatever. Hawkinson dropped. The $60 man dropped. Ugh.
Again, what a coincidence.
I know. $10 there. $10 for Geronimo Allison by Hackettstown's Finest. The Zamunda Lions paid $5 for Stafford after he just picked up Dak in a trade. I don't understand what goes on in Zamunda. So he picks up Dak in a trade. Then that evening, maybe he had set his thing to buy Stafford earlier in the day and forgot to cancel it or something. I don't know. Either way, you don't have to pay $5 for Stafford. I'm going to tell you that right now. You really don't. But
Zamunda has actually worked hard to wrestle away 12th from Eugene.
Yeah.
Because, Eugene he had 12th long lockdown, and now Nick Zaveri says, no, thank you. I want that spot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got it. He got his man. When Nick Zaveri sets his sights on something, he's going to go get it. He wanted 12th place, but by golly, he's got it.
He did. Congrats.
Won his record, lowest points scored. He wanted that spot, and he was determined to get there.
Yeah, way to go, Nick. You coming from in front.
Yes. Yes.
All right. And there's probably some other transactions that happened after that, but nobody cares. All right, let's get to the games as I feel like I'm catching a cold and I want to get to sleep. So, and this has been going on for a while anyway. Which games do we want to start with now?
Okay, let's kick things off with the garbage barge, ready to lose 4 straight. 87-point projection. Let's go inside the numbers. Okay, I was going to say.
Well, Galladay, yeah.
I don't know how the kicker goes on IR, but that's the garbage barge. He slipped on a daiquiri glass.
Wait a minute, he's on IR? What the hell?
Some Patriots kickers, and apparently, who knows what happened to him, but he's on IR.
Do you even put him in your IR spot? I mean, he has a hip injury. How old is this guy? My God. Okay, so yeah, there's that in Galladay, who's also out for the bye this week, which is making it only an 87-point projection at this point. He's still got the injury to Hilton. Mack is still questionable. His coaching is still questionable. No, I'm kidding. I mean, does he have a... So, I mean, all right, look. You play Ridley and you play Alshon Jeffrey, I guess, with Wentz. You go with Mack and Henry, and then you move Devonta Freeman or Duke Johnson into the flex or something. I don't know.
Devonta Freeman is that good that he's been riding the pine healthy?
He actually got 18 points last week, so, it's not that terrible. I mean, he had 4 and 9, respectively, in the first 2 weeks, but then he got 12 and 18. I mean, and those are both without touchdowns, so I mean he's improving. Yeah, I mean, for Tillett, let's see. Brady against Washington, that should be a good game for him. Julio Jones against Houston, that should be a good game for him. I don't know. Chark. David Johnson is at Cincinnati, that's good for him.
Jaguars heavy with Chark and Fournette. I don't know if a little risky there.
I mean, Fournette is good, actually. I think Fournette has done. I mean, what did he get? 26 points last week. Fournette is actually
5,000 carries. I mean, how many games are you gonna have with that?
Is he still? I think he finally stopped playing 100% of the snaps.
Literally 29 carries,
for 225 yards. I mean, people don't have that in a season. That's ridiculous. That's not going to happen again.
Well, I mean, until he collapses from exhaustion, he's still a good play. Chark, on the other hand, I mean, he was impressive a couple weeks ago, and everybody's on the Minshew train. He only got 8 last week, and I don't know.
We should call up Tillett and explain what happened to McLaurin.
Yeah, let's try to get in touch with. I know that you listen to the podcast. Expect a message from us, Tillett. It's your turn on the interview table next week, maybe. All right.
If Lightning Rods could combine like a Zerline with his Chicago defense, he'd be unstoppable.
Oh, you're saying to add just to make a trade here? I don't know. Yeah. I'm not fostering trades anymore for other players. But let's see. McLaurin is questionable. He has a hamstring. He's limited on Wednesday's practice, and their quarterback looks terrible. Are you sure the garbage barge is not gonna? I mean, look. Peyton Barber's been bad lately. I don't know.
I like Tillett in this one. This garbage barge sails to their 4th loss.
I mean, I think so too. I just don't know why I think so. I mean, I just think that I think Brady and Jones have good games. David Johnson, I mean, look, his running back core has been solid. You know, I just see the advantage. I mean, look, Mac's a little banged up. Henry has been, decent. He puts in Devonta Freeman. I don't know. We can make a game of it, but we'll see. This might be my upset of the week in terms of being a team that's listed as an underdog might actually come out on top. I don't know, but that's all I have to analyze of this game.
I don't know. I'm for me, it's just I'm upset every week to have to analyze their game.
The garbage barge.
The garbage barge. Yes, this is
well,
it's upsetting to look at this roster. I just don't see anybody here that's actually going to do anything. Again, you look at their roster front to bottom. I actually like the kicker being on IR. I think it's a nice choice for their team. And like you said, plug in 2 more guys, and I don't really think it changes at 87. I think it stays the same.
I think it might change it a little bit. I mean, I don't know.
I really don't see much of a difference. Anyway, on to something else. We've got some good Cincinnati matchups. Let's go from the garbage barge. I mean, we can't really call the Lightning Rod the dumpster anymore. Let's go one step up. Let's go Dave's secret dumpster against the Memphis Monkeys. Dave's secret dumpster fund. After last week's annihilation to the hands of Hackettstown's finest, the Monkeys roll into town. So let's see.
So the projection here is right on, like 121.62 to 121.70. I mean, it's an even projection right here.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Now you got Winston going against Brissett. I mean, Winston has been ridiculous the last couple of weeks. Then you have, all right. I mean, I edge to Winston there. Smith-Schuster versus Thielen. This is interesting because I don't think either of those teams. I mean, Thielen has been getting some numbers. He got only 2.6 last week. It probably will be boosted up against the Giants, and Juju has had some bad juju since his quarterback can't reach him. So that's going to be a tough game. Maybe he has to hope for a big end around. Cooper Kupp has been phenomenal. Amari Cooper, first of all, he's listed as questionable, and he had a quiet night against the Saints, but I mean, still 9.8 points. Edge to Cooper Kupp, though, because they have been superb there. Dalvin Cook at the Giants, got to give him the edge there to whoever the secret barge is, because, all right, Chris Carson finally, for the first time in 4 weeks, did not fumble. But It's a short week. This game is going on Thursday tonight, and it's going to be screwing up my commute first of all, which is going to annoy me on the way home because the stadium is right on the way home. But in addition to that, yeah, I mean he's gonna be tired. It's Fumble-Rooski ready. It's teed up for him right in this game. I think Chris Carson has multiple fumbles in this game, so I think Dalvin Cookout plays him there. His favorite man, Jacobs.
Still questionable. That's like a year-long flu he's got or whatever's going on. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Now it's an elbow. You've got tennis elbow.
Well, but he's going against Sony Michel, who's playing at Washington. Now you never know who
Michel has cooled off this season. I mean, he's barely been used at all.
Yeah. But, I mean, you never know. I mean, with like Burkhead was being the one that was being used, and then that stopped. So you never know.
But it doesn't matter because he's got 7 Patriots on his roster and with James White also going. So it doesn't matter if one guy doesn't get it, the other guy will.
Right, exactly. So one of the two will. Jimmy Graham, that's an interesting gamble there going against Jason Witten, who, still available.
And then sell high, everyone. It's Mike Evans making another comeback.
Yeah, he's got to play Goodwin or Godwin and Evans in the same game. I mean, if they're combined, because they just rotate games. And, by the way, the Monkeys are going with Jameis Winston. So he could take, if he wants to strategically be a secretly good coach, you put in Evans, you put in Godwin, you take away any weapons that Winston will have, and then you eke out a win at the other positions. But look, they've been getting about 60 points a game between them, but you just never know how it's going to be spread out. Just play them both.
Yes.
I mean, really, are you you can't part ways with Amari Cooper or Thielen? I mean, especially if Cooper's injured, go put them both in there.
Well, I think that Eugene is really mad. Last week he had a lock on last place, and he let Nick Zaveri slip in there. But I think this week, Dave's not-so-secret, blatant dumpster fire, they regain last place this week with this lineup.
Well, if they play this lineup, but we'll see. I mean, because the thing is so... that's too... First of all, he could have won last week had he just played the wide receiver from Tampa Bay. And
he's on a quest. This season, he's on a quest to go from champ to chump. And, he's right there. All he has to do is just edge out Nick Zaveri, and I think he can do it.
I don't know. Nick is tough at the bottom.
It's going to be hard to do, but I'm just saying. I think he's got a great shot to do it this week.
I don't know. I think this is going to be a close one. I would go. I think God, I don't know. It's actually a very close game.
On paper it is, but I like the Monkeys in this one.
Do you?
I do.
They need to do something about that wide receiver one if you want to like them. What? I don't know, but they need to do something. Jordan Landry, he's just sitting there.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry.
That's
really...
what I meant, Jarvis Landry.
He really had a great game. But again, a lot of these games involve...
Before suffering a concussion, so that maybe affects that. Never mind. I don't know. Valdez Scantling, aren't they?
He was hot in one game.
I don't know. Juju, I don't even know how you package him up. He's so bad. Like, how do you package that guy? He did get, 4.5 last week against Cincinnati. It was terrible. The week before that he had 17 points, but that was really on the back of that one play. And prior to that, he was only getting like 13 points, and that was with Ben in there. So, I don't know. And he's questionable now. Yeah, he's questionable mentally. He's like, I don't know if I need to go out there, coach. I'm going to pick the Crush in this game. I'm going to disagree with you.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, I think he's going to win this one.
I think Crush regains chump status, and he just dives right into the bottom of the barrel.
Well, let's take a look at his main competitor, the Zamunda Lions, going against the second place
Yes.
Mighty Whalers.
There's a new kid in town in the dumpster, and it's Nick Zaveri. Didn't he have a win at some point? Yes, he does have a win under his belt.
Yeah, who did he beat?
It was just to fool everybody, because since then he's nestled into the bottom of the filth.
Was it week 1 that he had the win?
Could be.
It must have been.
Could be.
I mean, it had to be, right? No, it was not. It was week 2 he came out with a win?
Week 2, Nick Saveri is just...
Yeah, he
he's
beat the
raring
garbage.
to go.
He beat the garbage barge.
Oh, right. He feasted on garbage, literally.
Right, 108 to 83 in week 2. Okay, that makes more sense.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you can't lose them all. So...
I've never seen so many questionables on the roster. Still in, so... And he's still favored by humongous points. What's going on the other side? Oh, Zach Ertz is out with a bye week or whatever.
I don't know. Is he just out?
He just says 0. I've never seen that before. There's no explanation. He's just 0.
They're just predicting that he
didn't even bother to put a projection up for him.
They're like, screw it. We don't think Ertz is going to do anything against the Jets. There's no injury. There's there's nothing wrong with him.
No. I guess Whalers feels like he doesn't need him. He's playing Zamunda.
he's giving him a rest for the week. Here, even though you're not on bye, you could be on bye. You're playing Zamunda. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
well, Zamunda is what do you call it? Premiering his new lineup with Prescott, Kamara, Connor in there. Emmanuel, yeah, there's a lot of question marks. Williams has a question mark. Emmanuel Sanders has a question mark. Connor has a question mark. Gordon.
And don't forget Gordon at the bottom of the question mark.
At least his kicker's not on IR. I don't know.
Whalers is not even playing a defense either. He's literally trying to give him the game, saying, "I dare you to take this."
Yeah, he's kind of going after us for insulting him and saying that he has such a weak schedule that he's basically playing in the AFC East. So he's like, all right, well, we'll do it with one hand tied behind our back because we're actually good. I mean, and look, he beat Wakanda, I believe, and he had like a huge point total that he did there. And he's making the moves. Look, he picked up McCoy. He goes and gets Samuels. I mean, he's doing some interesting things there. He picked up Royce Freeman that time. I mean, every time I find myself trying to, he has must start. You must start. I mean, look, he's doing some interesting things over there. Hopefully one of these weeks I'd like to talk to the Whalers, but I really want to, I don't know, either of you guys. Get in touch with us. Let's I'm curious what's going on here, especially with a 4-0. I mean, I guess he could build his arsenal for the rest of the season now that you're 4-0. I don't know. I mean, look, the Whalers are going to win this. Do I even need to go into the specifics? So he's going to tie Ertz's hand behind his back, and he has no defense. Whatever. He's fine. He's playing.
I mean, Nick has Gronk on his bench. And even if, let's just say, all these Qs turn into Os and they're all out, he doesn't even have a bench enough to field the team.
Yeah, because they're all in the cryo chamber. He's like picking players for like 4 weeks down the line when it's like you're literally in last place. You kind of have to focus a little bit on what's going on now.
Yeah, he's preparing for 1-7.
I know he's preparing for the consolation bracket. He's going to be a monster in there.
Yeah, he's carrying 3 quarterbacks and a Gronk on his bench. And like most of your skill players have question marks. I mean, there's a lot of needs to be addressed between now and Sunday, Nick.
Well, I have full confidence that he won't do it. Look, I believe that Zamunda will retain last place, and that Eugene will not undercut him this week. I think so. I'm looking at this. I think Zamunda retains its position in last place, and I think the Whalers keeps going. Did he just change this mid podcast? By the way, I'm looking at this. Ertz now has 13.8 projected points. What happened here?
Refresh? Let me refresh my.
Does he have a live feed for this thing? Because right now
it says 0 on my.
Oh, on mine it says 13.18. Yeah, like updated mid whatever. So he still doesn't have a defense though. So without a defense, he
doesn't even need to play one. I think Whaler should save his defense for Monday night and see how the score is.
Yeah, rest him. Who's playing Monday night? I don't even know.
Yeah, Monday night, San Francisco versus Cleveland.
Yeah, there you go. See if you need him. I mean, he's been the master. Look, I have to give Whalers some credit. Unlike Cyberdyne, I actually think the Whalers has been playing some masterful fantasy football, both in the auction, the free agent auction. We all know that Yahoo predicted him to be the best projected player, and he's living that out. But in addition to that, I just think, like, in terms of smart gameplay, he pulled his defense when he was, when he only had a 3-point win. When he had to play Wakanda and get those points, he did it. And in the games where he really doesn't have to exert much energy, he's resting his team, it seems like. I think he's played a pretty masterful season so far.
It's been that coupled with a very light schedule set him up very nicely.
Yeah, but you can't really fault him for the schedule. You can only win the games that are on your plate. So you can't really fault him for that. He's done well. Props to him.
Props to the Whalers, yes.
Yes. All right, and I don't know, whatever. All right, moving on. Where would you like to go next?
Well, we've already covered the Garbage Barge and Zamunda. The Memphis Monkeys. Okay, so that's the middle-ish area there. We got a couple of. Let's move on to the Lightning Rod 1603ers.
Sure, let's move on to that.
Now, the 1603ers have revamped their lineup, and it looks like none of that is really taking into effect this week. The player that they got is on a bye. Lightning Rods was in our coaching segment, so a lot of you will get the real treat of actually hearing Gaten Casimir's voice. Very engaging gentleman.
Yeah.
Never actually spoke to him. We had a lot of fun. So it was really nice that thank you for joining us on the show again.
Yes.
And now let's cover your game. So what do we got here?
I'm actually concerned about this game, very much so. This is... I have some pretty terrible matchups going this week. One benefit that I do have is that two of his players will be going on the Thursday night game. Mm-hmm. His quarterback and his wide receiver one.
Ooh.
So at least I can get some advance on what's going on. But I mean, my entire team, I believe, goes at 10 a.m. on Sunday right now. Like literally, I don't even think I have an option. There's not a player on my team. Oh wait, Breda. He plays on Monday night.
Wow, your entire team will be done by 4 for the most part.
Right. Sorry,
Woo!
I'm doing it based on my Pacific time zone. Yes, the 1 o'clock game Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
10 a.m. for me. So, and I have some very difficult matchups. Lamar Jackson against Pittsburgh, I think that's okay. Tyler Boyd, he's been kind of injury plagued, although they're more injured because I know Ross went down. So he might see an uptick in targets. I mean, right now we're rolling with Will Fuller. I mean, he's been pretty bad, but they're playing Atlanta, so we're going to go with that. We also picked up Kiki Kute in case I want to make some last-minute adjustment there. McCaffrey, he's fine. He should be fine. Breda has been okay, and he's not the main running back. He's playing Cleveland on Monday night. Waller against Chicago, we'll see how that goes. I mean, we know how good Chicago has been, but we'll see, and then we'll see how Beasley comes out. And for the Lightning Rods, look, Russell Wilson against the Rams and the Rams against, or Woods against, I mean, look, they've both been really good. We'll see if Diggs can, I mean, he's playing the Giants this week, theoretically, if he doesn't get traded, which he might have already been by the time, there's rumors swirling. I don't know if that's actually true, but we'll see by the time this airs if that's true or not. Ezekiel Elliott's going to feast on Green Bay. You saw what Jordan Howard did against them. I mean, I can't even imagine what he's going to do against them. Philip Lindsay against the Chargers. He'll be okay. Let's see if Ebron gets another Hail Mary. And, of course, the Chicago defense is going to play Oakland. So let's just say that he has some plus matchups in this. The only thing that we have going for us is that he has two players playing on Thursday night, and maybe we can make some last-minute desperate adjustments like the Hagglers did to fall 1 point short again.
Yeah, at this point, the Chicago defense can be considered like an RB2.
Yeah.
They put up massive amounts of points this year. I mean, their low has been 5 points, but 21, 17, and I mean, that's 21. A lot of starting like skill players don't put that up.
Yeah.
And you're picking up the Jets against Philly. It's an interesting move, but they're no Chicago Bears over here.
Look, I this is also something off the air I was talking to about with hockey. I look, the Jets give up a lot of points. They absolutely do, but they also get a lot of turnovers and they make a lot of stuff happen. Now, part of the reason for that is they're always playing. The Jets defense is always on the field. So, the more your defense is on the field, the more you have a chance for, a sack or an interception or just some fluke play that might happen to just fall in your, like when you're playing, 50 minutes a game as defense and you're out on the field.
That's a lot.
Something might happen. I don't know. And they've had actually good point totals. Look, I think Philadelphia should do well against them, but this is the team that got 15 points against New England. They got 18 against Buffalo. Only 4 against Cleveland, but I mean, I think that they have a possibility to do all right.
Okay.
I mean, not in the actual game. Don't get me wrong. The Jets' defense is terrible. The entire organization is terrible. We just had a conversation about how terrible they are. But in fantasy, I think that the defense could do something.
Okay. Now, as we're looking at Christian McCaffrey versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, are you any concerns about that game?
Doesn't matter. He's playing. I don't have another running back to play right now. At least not this week.
He's playing. You're just what are you anticipating?
I have concerns about this whole thing. I think my team is gonna. This is a bad week for us. We have a lot of bad matchups. I'm concerned about this entire roster.
Okay.
Like generally, I never pick my own team to win a game. I usually just pick the other team no matter what. This week, I actually kind of mean it. I'm picking the Lightning Rods, and I kind of mean it. So, yeah.
Well, let's see. Ezekiel Elliott Green. I mean, Lightning Rods has some interesting matchups. I mean, hopefully you don't get screwed by the Ebron bullshit again. I mean, that was nonsense. Edelman still questionable. We'll see if he plays. Yeah, Lightning Rods is he's a force most of the time.
Yeah.
And with that Chicago defense too, it makes up for any poor performance by any one of your players anyway. So.
Yeah. I mean, look. Hopefully Lamar has a really good game, and hopefully McCaffrey can carry the load like he does all the time. Mm-hmm. Especially with this new guy. I mean, I pulled out DJ Moore because ever since Cam went down, he's not even getting any targets. It's all going through McCaffrey. So,
yep.
I don't know. So yes, I'm picking the Lightning Rods.
I gotta pick a Lightning Rods right now too.
Yeah, I know. It's really distressing. We'll see if things can change between now and Monday, but yeah.
I mean, this 2-2 teams tilting right here. 3-2 looks good. 2-3, it's not the worst, but then you got to take another week to get back to 500.
I know. When we play Wakanda the week after, this is.
Look,
I'm very concerned right now. This is not a very happy time of my season. I'm glad that I got the win last week, but no, I am definitely concerned. That Dak mistake against Eugene really cost me a lot, because he could have been 0-4. And we could have been 3-1, and we really could have sacrificed, a couple bad games here, but now we can't. So I don't know. All right, but speaking about Wakanda, well, why don't we go on to the Wakanda?
Yeah, nice
Haggers
segue.
game.
Wakanda. All right, so this is interesting. There's nobody injured or out on buys, and Wakanda is still only projected to get 117.
Normally, he's projected to get into the 140s on a weekly basis. So I don't know what Yahoo's doing here with these wild fluctuations in projections.
Well, his injuries are starting to take his toll. He's benching
Now
Danny.
you need more guys, and now you've got Devontae Adams questionable. But don't worry, you can just plug in Nelson Aguilar, you bastard. I say that on the air. I meant you fine coach you.
How much would that annoy you?
Dude, no. This will be the new rivalry taking over Dayton Cosmo. If Dr. Hockey has the gall,
the Gallman,
for this man to be on anyone's team.
If he has the Gallman to pick up
If
Aguilar,
he has the Gallman to play Aguilar and he makes a difference in the score, oh no.
The week after he does that to you,
I will make hockey my personal cause.
That would be hilarious. Let's see if he does it. I'd love to see it happen.
Me and my $0 free agent budget is going after Dr. Hockey.
I mean, what more can you do to him? I mean, I guess you could seek your banana peel department on him.
I'll see what his deficiencies are, and I'll empty my whole bench and pick up every position at that spot, knowing he needs somebody.
He needs somebody everywhere, because and you never know where it's going to come because it's like a whack-a-mole. It just keeps bleeding out of different positions all the time. All right, let's look at this. Comparison right now. All right, so he's rolling with Dalton against Arizona. I think that's a good move, despite the fact that Dalton had a bad game. Dorsett, you never know. I mean, they're playing Washington, so yeah, you got to play him. Adams at Dallas, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Ingram, Gallman had a fantastic game, but now he's going against Minnesota. Greg Olsen started to become quiet once everybody on that team started hurting in terms of point totals once Cam went out. As bad as Cam was, he was actually helping some players around him. He's still going with Disley. Interesting. Locking up the flex on Thursday night. Is he going to make the Cardinals sin? I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
And then Arizona and the New England defense going against Washington. That's going to be tough. I mean, you just had this whole conversation about the Washington defense and what they could do. I mean, the New England defense has been just bananas. Their lowest. What?
You mean the Chicago defense and what they could? I mean, Chicago defense is like an RB2. I'd say the New England defense is like a wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I mean.
Actually, not even. They've been putting up just as bad. 25 last week.
They put up more numbers. They're putting up more numbers. First of all, their floor is higher than the Bears' defense. The Bears, you said their floor was 5. New England's floor is 10, and that was in week 1. The lowest amount that they've gotten is just what they start with. They've never gotten lower than what they start with. 37 against Miami. Okay, it's Miami, but then 14 against the Jets, 25 against Buffalo, and now they're going against Washington. Yeah, that's. I mean, and despite all the injuries, that's really where a large bulk of his points have been coming from. Even when the injuries are happening. I mean, that game that he was playing the Blues, where the Blues actually scored a lot of points, that was a game where, what do you call it? His defense almost kept him in it, even with Breeze going down mid-game. So, huge point totals are generated from there. Can the Hagglers keep up? Fitzgerald against Cincinnati, that's a good play, especially with Kirk injured. More targets are going to go there. And Cincinnati, when the opposing team does have a quarterback, they get some opportunities. Rivers against Denver, I don't know, that's kind of iffy. Mohamed Sanu at Houston, that's a good play. Le'Veon Bell finally making his introduction to the Hagglers, playing at Philadelphia. And Nick Chubb playing at San Francisco. So I think you certainly have an advantage in running back. Though you never know because Ingram has had games where he's turned it on. So we'll see. And Gallman certainly had a great game last week. Ingram against Olsen, I just think that Ingram has the advantage, even though he's playing Minnesota, just because of how poor Olsen has been since they got the new quarterback in there. Jordan Howard going against Disley. Jordan Howard playing against the Jets. I think, he showed what he could do last week, and I think he could do a lot this week, and then Will Lutz against Gonzalez. So it's actually a matchup of two of the best kickers in the league. And you're rolling with Tennessee against this vaunted New England team. What's your thought process behind Tennessee?
I was looking at Allen, who is in concussion protocol for the Buffalo Bills, so their backup is horrendous. And I think Singletary, the good running back, may play. He's still on the mend. You've got no quarterback in Frank Gore. If you can't stop that, you don't belong here.
Beasley could be beastly.
Yeah, okay. His 3-yard underneath route, we should be able to contain.
I don't care.
Just say that because you're trying to hype them up because you picked them up.
I don't care. Just as long as they throw them. A lot of them. I don't care.
Interestingly enough,
I don't care. Get 20 receptions for 20 yards, and I'm still a happy man.
If Dr. Hockey's Q's turn into O's, he literally does not have another running back to field, A. And B, he has to go with Nelson Aguilar. It's the only other eligible, except for Sammy Watkins. So
yeah, but if you're Hockey, you gotta go for Aguilar. Just for the sheer screw you of it all.
Value.
High risk,
I'm
high
going to be
reward.
watching that Eagles-Jets game because I got players in there. But if Aguilar does anything, Hockey's going to get a phone call.
Although I have to say, honestly, the last time somebody tried that against you, it was me, and it backfired immensely. It cost me a championship. I tried to Gillisley you, just to get back at you like that, and it cost me a championship. So I don't know if I would advise that course of action.
Deion Sanders has you ball, you get the call. Hockey is going to be, if you're a bastard, you get the call.
If you're a bastard, I'll make sure you finish lastard.
All right, so on to our...
wait, we got to do the predictions. I know you pick yourself all the time, and I think I might pick you in this game because I think there's slight edges. Look, it could go either way, but I think Howard outplays Disley and Ingram outplays Olsen. I think Fitzgerald and Sanu are good plays, and I'm going to pick the Hagglers slightly in this game.
I have to play the Casimir-Lavasser family line.
As do I. I'm just starting it this week, so.
Yep. All right, that brings us to a battle for first place.
Is it a battle for first place?
It is.
All right, well, let's see. Because couldn't Whalers get in there?
Yeah, he could.
Because he would have the better record. Because then this would actually. So if the Blues win, he would remain in first place, probably depending on this point total for the Whalers. But if the Blues loses, it would knock the Blues down to at least third, and move Hackettstown's Finest up to second. So it's not necessarily a battle for first place so much as it's a battle to drag the first place player out of its position.
Once again, ha. Good one, Dave.
I wasn't trying to be funny. I'm trying to get through this. I have a cold.
All right. That was a throw out. That was a shout out to Eugene.
No, I know, but I'm saying. I don't even know. Anyway, go ahead. So let's look at Hackettstown's Finest. So Aaron Rodgers going at Dallas. I don't know. Hopkins versus Atlanta. Hopkins hasn't done much. Michael Brown at Pittsburgh. He should actually do fine. Eckler, we'll see how Eckler does now that he's playing against Melvin Gordon. Is Melvin Gordon going to play in this game?
I think it's Marquise Brown. You always call him a different first name every week.
I don't know. He has like 30...
Mookie Brown started. You always pick every name except the actual guy.
Whatever, Matilda Brown, whatever his name is, I don't care. I usually say M Brown, I think, because I don't care. Hollywood Brown, right? This is Hollywood.
Yeah.
Hollywood, who has been, turning tricks over on Hollywood Boulevard in the last couple games for only 6.9 and 6.2 points. I think he has a rebound game here. I think Mildred Brown has a has a comeback game here. Eckler. So what's going on with Gordon? So he's gonna play Gordon. So this is interesting. So they're not like matched up right against each other. So the Blues has Gordon in his flex, but basically you got Eckler against Gordon. That's quite a.
That's interesting.
That's very interesting. All right. I mean, that's the most interesting part about this entire battle. And look, the Blues has been 4-0, or should I say Cyberdyne has been 4-0 without Gordon. Now he gets him back. I mean, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Gurley, he's playing at Seattle on Thursday night. You got Hooper. I think Hooper's going to have a really good game. In this one, he's playing Hooper and Kelsey. I don't think that choice is bad. I think that choice is good. He's going with the Philadelphia defense. For Cyberdyne and the Blues, Mahomes versus Indianapolis. Beckham at San Francisco on Monday night. Then Keenan Allen versus Denver. Carlos Hyde versus Atlanta. And Jones, the recipient of the Robin Hood Award, playing at Dallas. Andrews at Pittsburgh. Bryant for the kicker, and the Baltimore defense. Maybe he can finally do something for him, since the Baltimore defense had 13 points in the first week when they were playing against Miami and they were on my team. After that, they have gotten 4 and -1, and 0. Yes, 4, -1, and 0. So let's see if that Baltimore team has if they could pay off for him. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see how that pays off for you. Yeah, but I think the most interesting part of this entire matchup is Gordon versus Eckler. I mean, last year when Gordon was playing and was the starter, I mean, Eckler still got a decent amount of points. Eckler has been phenomenal for this first half of the season. Is he going? You know, has he earned almost a timeshare in that role, or does he get relegated to what he was before?
Nah, don't be surprised if the Chargers ease Gordon back into the picture on a low snap count.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible too. So there's so many scenarios that can happen here. It's really interesting. And I really think, honestly, this entire game might come down to that question of who plays, who gets more snaps in that game, Eckler or Gordon. I don't know.
This guy's got more Browns on his team than UPS. I'm just looking at his bench. He's got 2 more Browns stashed away on his bench.
Who are we talking about?
This is Hackettstown's finest. So I'm just looking to see what's going on over here. So when Tyreek Hill comes back, this offense could be ridiculous.
Oh my God! Wait, you're actually talking about in terms of players named Brown. I thought you meant just Browns like Chubb, and or like like which Cleveland players does he have? I'm like, he has no Cleveland players on his bench. No, you mean
people named Brown.
You mean people literally named Brown? He should just have an entire team of just people named Brown, and then just have a collection of Browns. I'm still waiting for somebody to just do that.
Interesting. He's going with a 2 tight end set like Dr. Hockey. He's got Hooper and Kelsey.
I think that's a better 2 tight end set though than Olsen and Disley.
Yes. Yeah, true.
I mean, Hooper didn't he get like 22 points last week or something ridiculous?
He's in the 20s.
22 points against Tennessee last week. 24 the week before against Indianapolis. Now this is a tougher game against Houston, but still, I actually want to correct myself. I think the game that he has a fantastic game is 2 weeks from now when he plays Arizona. Next week he might not do as well. Anyway, so what do you think? This is a big, huge matchup here.
It is. It actually is. I think that Hackettstown's finest has the firepower to pull this off. Here's what I'm concerned about, though. The Baltimore Raven players
if you look at all of their stats or any of their skill position, they've cooled off considerably from their hot start blowing out the hapless Dolphins. I mean, every single position on that team has regressed since week 1.
Yeah.
You go to Andrews, the tight end, who was red hot. Lombardi had a great tight end. 4 points and 13 points after getting 25 and 24 the first 2 weeks. I think people are starting to figure out this Ravens offense. M. Brown, Mildred Brown, as you call him or her, 30 points in week 1, and then 16, 6, and then 6. Definitely going backwards. Ingram, who hockey
Martha Brown is definitely going backwards.
Martha Brown, definitely going backwards. I don't know. Does that concern you for Lamar? I know we're sidetracking from this matchup a little bit. Does that have any, since you traded away Dak, is that looming in your head at all since I just brought it up, or you haven't really
He got like 30-something last week, and even the week that he did poorly against Kansas City, he still got 20-something, which is better than most of the jabroni quarterbacks out there. And I really got tired of just making the wrong decision every week. And maybe by doing this, I made the wrong decision for the entire season. I don't care. I just couldn't do it anymore. I'm not debating that. And they both had the same bye week.
Okay.
So there was no, no, it doesn't give me concern.
All right, let's get back to the game at hand. So Gurley got 26 last week, so it looks like we might have Le'Veon Bell'd it again in Hackettstown, but whatever. We're just too busy going on to the next guy. We don't care.
You mean in Haglerland, since now there's 2? Since Hackettstown has enough to support 2 franchises, they have such a fan base there.
Gurley didn't have to go far. It was a Hackettstown to Hackettstown. He literally just went across the street.
Right.
So he didn't really
to the south side, and then, right? Wait, you're on the south side. He went to the north side.
Right. He went from the verifying area to the register. Or vice versa. He went from the register to, like, Farmers Estates.
There you go.
Okay, so now we've got Hooper. I mean, you can't sit. I mean, he's actually making the decision that Eugene should have made with his wide receivers. You got to play both of these hot tight ends. They're both doing well. Instead of trying to guess which one, just shove them both in there.
Yeah.
I mean, his flex options are the age Frank Snore. He picked up this guy Brown from Tennessee, but if you go inside the numbers very closely, 3 catches, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I don't think that's going to happen ever again in his
which
career.
Brown is this?
This is A.J. Brown. This is A. Brown. A. Brown, literally A. Brown.
Oh, Adam Brown, okay.
So he was like, oh, yeah, let me go after this guy right here. Look, he got 24 points. Let's go inside the numbers. Yeah, 3 catches, 2 for touchdowns. We know how that goes in this league.
Oh, yeah.
He'll be getting Gallup back. I mean, I like Hackettstown's finest in their firepower. I think Odell showed that he can be manhandled, and he's going to be playing Richard Sherman. I think he's going to get more of the same. Yeah. He's going to be handled. Homie will definitely – he'll get his usual points. It's hard to keep that guy down. Although he was relegated to 18 points. My problem is that after these high-scoring firepower games, is the real NFL starting to catch up to these ridiculous offenses? Because you're not seeing those outlandish point totals like you were in week 1 and 2.
Well, yes, but
Jones.
No, but to be fair, week 2 you didn't actually see those outlandish totals really. I mean, you saw it in week 1. It's been every other week. You saw it in week 1, then you saw it in week 3. Week 2 was actually a very low-scoring week, I think.
Okay,
if I'm correct.
Let's see. For Mahomes in particular.
Oh, not for Mahomes. No, Mahomes has been fine. But I mean, when it comes to quarterback, it's all about throwing touchdowns. Excuse me. That's all that it has to do with.
It's a copycat league, though. Once somebody figures out how to contain you, though, then you got to start watching out. One lower performance is one thing. If you start to get 2 low performances in a row, then you got to start wondering, has the league figured this guy out?
Sure.
So
who would you pick in this game? I mean, because Rodgers.
We'll keep an eye on what he does.
No, but Rodgers has not been that fantastic.
Finest all the way. I think Gordon is going to take a while to get back up to speed. I think Eckler has the big game.
Yeah, I agree. Although I do think that there's an opportunity for Gordon to get a touchdown on the goal line, kind of thing.
That'll be the first interesting aspect. Who do they bring in the goal line? Their first goal to go.
Mm-hmm. I could easily see Gordon having, like a game with 2 receptions for 15 yards and 2 scores, like that kind of game. Whereas Eckler will be getting all of the touches and everything else during the game, but he won't get it down to the goal line anymore. I don't know.
So he'll be doing the dirty work.
But you're actually predicting Hackettstown's finest. Look, I kind of agree with you there, but I will say this. If Cyberdyne can pull off this game, this is a legitimately tough team to play.
Yeah.
If he could pull off this win, then maybe I'll start giving him credit. I've given the Whalers credit. Maybe the Blues could earn themselves some credit, or they could earn the praise, earn the whatever the opposite word of praise is. I hate being sick. Earn whatever the opposite word of praise is. They're mocking that they get on this program if they don't win this one.
Well, let me just say, he's had a leisurely September. Now, as we get into October, this is his first action.
Yeah, and, I mean, and look, if he could actually pull off this win, that puts him to 5-0. At that point, you just need basically one more win for the rest of the season, and you can clinch a playoff spot at that point.
Yep.
I mean, he would be looking past that almost to, to get the bye. I mean, he could cruise to a bye between him and Whalers.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder when that game is. I'm actually curious. But I'll look that up later while I'm while I'm downing my NyQuil. So, all right. Anything else? So we're both picking Hackettstown's finest in this game.
Well, this might be a must-win because actually the Whalers-Blues matchup is next week. So that could be a battle of unbeaten.
Whalers' Blues is next week. Ooh, that's so exciting. I'm actually excited for next week.
That puts a lot more emphasis on this game right here.
I know. Look at that. Ooh. So the undefeatedness ends next week, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
At least for one of the teams. The other one just can keep rolling.
6, somebody's got to lose.
Well, all right. So, where are you on your lock of the week?
Lock of the week right now. I like Whalers smearing Zamunda. Too many question marks, literally.
Really, you're not going with Tillett versus the Garbage Barge?
It's tempting. Garbage. I mean, Tillett, Trey. Let's take a quick look. Scan of his roster again. Brady, Chark, Fournette, Howard. Well, it's just not that interesting of a team, really. I mean, they're just no. With all of those question marks on Zamunda, I mean, it's the lock of the week. I think he makes a strong push for dead last.
I think I have to join you there. I'm sorry, but yes. All right, so we both have the same lock of the week. All right, who is your potential upset of the week? Who do you think is currently considered an underdog that has the best chance of winning one of these games?
I
think it's the Monkeys.
You know what? My
although it's
of the week.
Go ahead. That wouldn't.
Now, you mean underdog in standings or point projections?
Point projections, but I mean, what are you going with standings? I mean, if you're going with standings, then it's Hackettstown's finest over the Blues.
That would be. You think that's the upset of the week?
If you're going by standings, if you're going by the actual projected point totals in the game, who's considered an underdog?
I see. I think the upset of the week. I mean, if you're going to do that, it's going to be 1603 over the Lightning Rods.
Interesting. I'm certainly not going with that. I think I'm going to go with the Memphis Monkeys over Dave's Secret Crush, even though the projection is only 121.62 to 121.70, so just barely getting in under the wire. All right. I don't have anything else. I mean, this ordeal has been probably going on for a little over 3 hours right now. I'm sure people want to get on with their day. I know I certainly want to down that NyQuil.
Yeah, between coaching, interviews, and commercial, this is the new all-day affair pop.
You just start playing it at 9 a.m. at your leisurely job. By noon, by the time it's over, it's noon. It's lunchtime, baby. We've already, knocked out one of the mornings of your dull lives. Okay. I'm going to go to sleep now. Anything else?
That's it. Pretty
All
much
right.
a wrap.
All right, so first of all, thank you to Gaten Casimir for joining us on this program, as well as Manny and Odwin of the Wakanda Panthers, 4 Yees, and myself. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Peace out, people.